wherever we could, Your Honor.
That's a lie.
No, that's true.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
20-year-old Carrie Braun and her mother, Christine Cass, are suing Carrie's ex-boyfriend, 24-year-old Ian Rosson, for his share of a car accident settlement.
Order. All rise.
Yes, case number 582 on the calendar, the matter of Braun Cass versus Rosson.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Miss Cass, is this your mother?
Yes.
I want to know what your mother is involved with this case for, because what I gather happened is that you and Mr. Rosson were a couple, and while you were a couple, he wanted a car. He actually bought the car, but since he had miserable credit, put the car in your name.
Yes.
Your name and your mother's?
No. No, my mom's here with me because she helped pay the half that I had to pay for his damages to the vehicle.
Oh, I don't care. Sit down.
Okay.
In any event, the car was in your name, and
He made payments on the car.
was there a loan on the car? If there's a loan on the car, what was he making payments for?
I paid the car off, Your Honor.
Great. So the car was all paid in full.
Yes.
And it was paid in full on what date? Month and year?
May 2015.
And were you and the plaintiff living together when the car was paid off?
Yes.
And it was still in your name?
Yes.
Did you have your own car?
No, I only had the car that he had paid. I didn't have my own car.
So there was just one car that the two of you shared that he bought?
Yes.
How long had you lived together?
We lived together for about 6 months.
And within that 6-month period of time, he paid off the car?
Yes.
Good. Who paid for the insurance?
Ian did.
And the insurance covered both you and him?
Yes.
And what was the name of the insurance company?
Geico.
Geico. Then you split up, and when you split up, he left, and he took his car.
Yes.
It's important for me to understand this case, the nature of the breakup, whether it was a mutual breakup, whether it was a happy breakup, whether it was an acrimonious breakup. So now I want you to tell me the date that he finally left was what date?
It was May, I want to say May 10th of 2015.
We were together till September, Your Honor.
What?
We were together till September.
He left child at my parents' house.
And
was never in the life.
After that?
After that, we had,
Did you get back?
Parenting.
No.
No.
Did you see him between May and September?
Yes.
Where?
I would see him
No, don't go like this. Where would you see him? He's going to tell me, and I'm going to believe him because you're starting to get flushed like you're lying. So I want you to tell me, between May and September, where did you see him?
If he drove up to come see my son every once in a while, but most of the time I did not know his whereabouts.
Between May and September, did you and the plaintiff have any intimate relations?
Yes, Your Honor.
Of course. Where?
At the park, in the car, wherever we could, Your Honor.
That's a lie.
Did you have... No, that's true. Your mother may not know that, but that's true. She knows it now. Take a breath. The problem is that he had an accident with the car that involved other cars, clearly because it was determined that you were at fault.
Yes, Your Honor.
That they came after you as the car owner.
Yes.
Because you had let the insurance lapse.
No, Your Honor. She was supposed to pay the insurance when we moved to California.
No.
Yes.
No. Once you left, you can't stop canoodling. You say September. On what date was the accident?
November 6th, Your Honor.
So in either case, your relationship is over.
Yes, Your Honor.
Is it over now?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Tell me what happened on November 6th.
On November 6th, I was speeding too fast on a rainy day, and I missed a stop sign, and I T-boned a lady, and that lady's car hit another vehicle.
Now, it is your claim that when you separated, and on what date was that? In September or in May, sir?
September.
In September, you asked her to do what?
I asked her to transfer the car into my name, and she refused in hopes
Tell me where you were when you asked her to transfer the car into your name.
I was in Seattle.
Where did you have this discussion? At her home or
over the phone?
Tell me about the discussion.
I said I need to get the car into my name. because there's no reason why she should have the vehicle into her name.
Right.
And in hopes that she would get back together with me. She didn't want to put the car into my name.
Well, what did she say?
I said, I need the car into my name because if something happens, then...
Put your hand down. I want you to tell me about the breakup that you say happened in September.
We constantly fought, Your Honor. We fought...
Well, what was the last fight about, for instance? Give me the last fight.
I honestly can't remember, Your Honor.
How much after the last fight did you ask her to put the months that you've asked? There's no question he asked for the car in his name. It's his car. He paid it off. The difference would be that you said, I'm not giving you the car in your name. I have it over you. Because all you have to do is transfer, right on the title, transferred, take it to motor vehicles, now it's his car.
I had asked numerous amount of times to put his name on the car.
No, not put his name on the car. All you have to do is transfer it to him. Transfer it to him, take it to motor vehicles, say, I've just transferred this car to its rightful owner, send him the new title. Then it's out of your name, if you wanted to do that. If you wanted to break his chops, then what you would do is say, I'm not putting the car in your name. Give me a reason to put the car in your name. Why should I put the car in your name? That sounds more plausible to me.
He was constantly driving around selling marijuana. I could never get a hold of him.
I just told you what you could do. Very easy. Sign the car. I don't want it anymore. There's no reason why, if you weren't together, he wouldn't want his name on the title to the car. That doesn't excuse the fact that he had an accident, but if the title to the car was in his name, as he had requested that you put it in his name, then he would have the problem, instead of you and your mother having the problem. That doesn't excuse you. You're not without blame. You were speeding. You were going too fast, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Right? And you also let the car insurance lapse with Geico. She said she was... You're not a couple anymore. So if you're driving around the car, you should have had insurance on it, right? You know how to pay. You know how to pay insurance to Geico.
Yes, Your Honor.
Right. What happened was, you say, well, if she's going to be stubborn and she doesn't put the car in my name because it's really my car, I'm not going to carry insurance on it. Why should I carry insurance on it? She'll get stuck. I have a problem. So sometimes it doesn't work to be spiteful. How much did it cost you?
So I had to end up paying $2,050.40.
For the damage to the other cars?
Yes.
Now, where's the car now? Was it totaled?
Yes, Your Honor.
It was totaled?
It was totaled, Your Honor.
Did you get any insurance money for it?
No.
What kind of car was it?
It was a 2004 Hyundai Elantra.
Can I see the information from the insurance company, please? $2,050. That's what I want to see.
I have from the collection agency and this proving...
Don't give me a whole lot of stuff. I just want to see what the amount was that you paid and you check. I'd like to ask you a question, Miss Cass. Now, Miss Cass, this is my question to you. There is no question in my mind that this young man asked your daughter to turn the car back over to him because he had paid for it. How much did you pay for it, by the way?
$5,000, Your Honor.
There's no question in my mind that he had asked your daughter to do that. Did you recommend that she do that?
Yes, ma'am.
I assumed that you car. And what did she say to you when you said turn the car over to him?
Actually, she had a conversation with her father about that.
Were you there? It's not an answer.
On one occasion, yes.
All right. I want to know what your daughter's reaction was, why she said no.
She said she was trying to get it done and that it hadn't been finished yet.
Well, her stubbornness is going to cost her something.
Yes, ma'am.
Not $2,050, but her stubbornness, because she should have put the car in his name when he asked for it. Thank you, Ms. Cass.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Were you paying child support?
No, Your Honor.
Do you have a child together?
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, it's another reason to be mad. It's a real sad sack.
And later today...
You filed for an order of protection. You didn't want his wife in the house. He abandoned the lease because you had an order of protection against him, and no sane person would live in the house when you have protective orders against both him and his wife.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Carrie Braun says the father of her child, Ian Rosson, owes for half of a car accident settlement.
Okay. Well, the account was $4,000. Who paid the other half?
So we had a settlement where I had to pay half the $20,000.
Hey.
I haven't paid anything on it yet.
That's ridiculous.
I'm working on it. I'm definitely taking care of my debts, and it's coming.
So, I got it. You made an agreement with the company.
Yes.
That you would pay half, $2,050.
Yes.
And that he's going to pay the other one. And so whatever judgment will not be against you, will be against him.
Yes.
Do you have a similar letter indicating how much your portion is?
I don't, Your Honor.
Why not?
I just don't.
Well, did you get one?
Yes, Your Honor.
You don't care.
I do care, Your Honor.
So then why don't you take care of it?
I'm going to take care of it.
When? When?
As soon as possible. But
What's as soon as possible?
Next month.
This is from an outsourcing company, which means it's past due. They already sent it to collections.
So
what?
Right now I'm paying off the other vehicle that was involved in the accident because there was 2 cars that were involved. But I don't feel like I owe her anything at all because if she transferred the car into my name, then none of this would have happened.
Listen to me. You're absolutely right. As long as you pay the other $20.50. If she had done the right thing and turned the car over to you, then you would have been saddled with this entire bill. But she didn't. You think that would have prevented you from speeding and having an accident?
No, Your Honor.
No. Okay. Give her a little bit of a... She wanted to be stubborn. Her father tried to convince her. Her mother tried to convince her. But she was angry because she fought. Were you paying child support?
No, Your Honor.
Do you have a child together?
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, that's another reason to be mad. I mean, it's a real sad sack. My God. Your stubbornness is going to cost you $500 because what you should have done was turn the car over to him as soon as he left and make it clean. You didn't do that. You didn't do that because you were stubborn. So I'm awarding you $1,500 towards your half of what you had to pay. The other $500 you're going to have to eat because you were stubborn. He asked you for the car. It was the right thing to do, to turn the car over to him, and that way you wouldn't have any grief. Got it?
Yes, Your Honor.
We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I'm just glad it's over, and I wish I could have gotten the full, but I'll take what I can get.
Well, this wouldn't have ever happened in the first place if she just transferred the car into my name.
I hope that we can at least do co-parenting, work everything out for the child's sake.
I hope I could see my son as much as possible, and that's it.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Anstein versus Rosas, step forward, please.
23-year-old Brianna Anstein is suing her uncle, Jorge George Rosas, and his wife, and lost wages due to a false restraining order.
You and your uncle decided to rent a house together.
That is correct.
And you and your uncle signed a lease to that house. Your name and your uncle's name were the only 2 names on the lease.
Yes.
Your uncle had a girlfriend. This is his girlfriend, now his wife.
Yes.
For whatever reason, you and the new Mrs. Rojas didn't get along. I gather from the answer that you used to be friends. You knew each other from school.
Yes, that's correct.
But whether you didn't approve of his relationship with her, whether they were fighting, whatever it was, you didn't want her in the house.
Yes, and the reason being is the police have been called multiple times over them fighting at the residence.
So at some point, you went and filed a protective order to keep her out of the house.
Yes, away from me specifically.
And the protective order also included your uncle, and I'm going to have to look at the protective order.
Yes.
I'd like to see what the protective order says about your uncle.
So this is for my uncle, and then this one is for Lanaja. The judge knew that...
Don't tell me what the judge knew. Don't tell me what the judge said to you. All I'm doing is... Okay, you had an order of protection against your uncle that said your uncle shall not assault, menace, threaten, harass, do any of whatever. You, your boyfriend, and your grandmother, who I assume your boyfriend was in and out of the house?
Yes.
Yes? And your grandmother lived there?
Both grandmothers, Your Honor.
They
There's
lived
an
there.
attachment.
Okay. But Marco was your boyfriend?
Yes.
Who didn't live there?
We had him there for a tentative stay.
Not we. You.
Yes.
He was not his boyfriend. He
No.
was your boyfriend. So that now you have 2 protective orders, one against her that she can't come to the house, and one against your uncle that, with the exception of not removing him from the home, covered everything else. Your workplace, everything else was covered.
Yes.
So he's living on eggshells. At some point, he moves out. On what date does he move out?
On November 8th, Your Honor, of 2015.
And so now I want you to tell me what you're suing for.
I'm suing for him abandoning the lease.
It's not happening.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Once you have a protective order against somebody, that's like having a loaded gun. If they look at you cross-eyed, you pick up the phone, you call 911, you say, I feel, and I want you to come and have them arrested.
cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Brianna Anstein says her uncle, Jorge George Rosas, and his wife, Lanasia, owe for a loan, rent, and lost wages.
Now, you filed for an order of protection. You didn't want his wife in the house. You have your boyfriend in the house. You have the grandmothers in the house. He abandoned the lease because you had an order of protection against him, and no sane person would live in the house when you have protective orders against both him and his wife. Wouldn't happen. So you're not getting any money. Let your boyfriend get a job if he's living in the house.
Your Honor, the reason I had to get a restraining order on her is because she was sending me multiple harassing text messages.
Don't care.
Okay.
You made the rule, and you said, well, for whatever started the argument had to have a genesis. I don't know what it was, and I don't care. But once you have a protective order against somebody, that's like having a loaded gun, especially if they live with you. If they look at you cross-eyed, you pick up the phone, you call 911, you say, I feel threatened because he looked at me funny, and I want you to come and have him arrested. And I've got a protective order, which means now he just doesn't get a protective order. Now he has a violation of the protective order.
Please.
No. I'm just telling you, you have a legal order keeping her out of the house and a legal order against him that says he can't look at you funny, he can't motion you in a way that you don't like, that you feel threatened. I wouldn't live with you either. So you're not getting any rent from him abandoning the lease. What's next?
What's next is a $500 loan that I gave him. I've supplied to him. In April of 11th of 2015, the defendant, George Rosas, crashed Lanasia Phillips' car.
Just a second. Did your niece give you $500?
Yes.
Under what circumstances?
Just to get my wife out of the house, out of her hair. Like it was basically.
No, explain it to me. Go a little further. Come
on. I was gonna pay.
Okay, you.
It's a deductible for the car crash. And,
okay. You were driving her car,
yes.
And before you were married, and you were in a crash.
Yeah.
And the car had to be fixed.
Yes.
Because I read it here.
Yeah.
So, and I say it faster than you do, and I have other things to do today.
I know.
Good. So you crashed her car. She was furious with you. The car was fixed, but there was a $500 deductible. In order to get her off your back, your niece gave you $500.
Yeah.
Did you give it back to her?
No.
Why not?
I never got to it.
Well, now you're going to get to it.
Yeah.
$500. Perfect.
Continues in a moment.
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
What's next?
I also wanted to request for lost wages because when I filed my restraining order, Lanasia Phillips in retaliation filed a false restraining order, and she didn't show up to my secondary hearing or her secondary hearing, and I had to take a total of 4 days to off of work in order to do that.
I should have asked the judge there. You have $500. Anything else? Are we done here?
Your Honor, I'd like to mention for the rent amounts, it also included the $900 deposit and that he never paid me.
He's not living there anymore. Who's living there?
Now we don't live there anymore. We moved out in March. That was the end of the lease.
Just a minute. Did you get your deposit back?
When he moved out, his room is damaged, and so the majority of the deposit of his amount, the $900, is going to be taken out.
I don't know that at all. Right now, he owes you $500. Are we done here? Perfect. Thank you.
Parties are excused and they step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
He got in my face, and that was the first time he's ever done anything like that.
I love my niece.
I do not think that my uncle is going to try to reconcile with me.
We can have a relationship again.
She started packing all of my stuff and was telling me to get out of the house.
Anger between adulterers.
She found out that my wife was pregnant and she was having twins. So I just got the keys and got my clothes and took her car.
But his escape.
Well, you hit a tree.
Yes, ma'am.
Cheated her out of her car.
I didn't want to go to jail about calling the police from being in the house.
You have 2 legs. Walk out of the house.
That was too far to walk.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Juanita Johnson is suing ex-boyfriend Andre Smith Jr. for totaling her car and unpaid utility bills.
Order. All rise.
Now it's case number 573 on the calendar in the matter of Johnson versus Smith.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Ms. Johnson, it is your claim that Mr. Smith, who is now, according to you, your ex-boyfriend, borrowed your car and totaled it. This was after an argument. You want him to be responsible for $5,000. When did the accident take place?
It took place.
Okay, Mr. Smith, tell me what happened.
On that day, she was at the grocery store. She came home from the grocery store mad and angry and was trying to pick fights and arguments.
No.
And
I don't want to hear you.
And with that, she started arguing, telling me about this. She found out that my wife was pregnant and she was having twins. And so she started packing all of my stuff and was telling me to get out of the house. And I was trying to reason with her and trying to calm her down, but she told me that if I didn't get out, that she was going to call the police. So I just got the keys and got my clothes and took her car and went to my wife's house and ended up having a wreck.
Well, how did you have the wreck?
I don't know, ma'am. I was just so upset that I couldn't even focus while I was driving, just ended up having a wreck.
Well, you hit a tree.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, tell me how you hit the tree.
I was driving in the middle of the lane, and I was about to get over into the right lane to get ready to get off at my exit. But this car was coming down in the hazard lane real fast. And I seen him then. He jumped over in front of me, so I was trying to avoid him and not hit the barricade that was on the side of the road. So in the midst of doing that, I ended up trying to swerve and get back into the lane and hitting the tree.
Did you tell that to the police?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of car were you driving?
I was driving a Jeep Compass.
What year?
2000 and I think it was 15.
Is that the year of your car?
And no, it's a 2012.
When did you purchase it?
October 2015.
How much did you pay for it?
$13,000.
So you have a loan on the car?
No.
You paid it off?
Yes.
Did you have insurance on the car?
Liability.
What kind of work do you do?
Customer service representative.
Where did you get the $13,000 from to pay cash for the car?
It was from a settlement. My aunt had passed away and left me and my sister some money.
When did your aunt pass away?
She passed away in June of 2015.
Tell me what happened with your boyfriend in the car.
That day, I went to the grocery store. I was only supposed to be gone for like 30 minutes because I said I was just going to grab something to eat, but I just went grocery shopping. When I came back, he was upset about how long I had been gone. So we got into an argument, and I basically just said, like, I don't have to explain to you how long I'm going to be gone in my own car because I had went grocery shopping. So I went to the kitchen to finish putting up the groceries in the middle of us arguing. I hear the front door, storm door close. And so when I go to the storm door and look out the door, he's already in the car driving off. And so I'm calling his phone, texting his phone. He's not answering the phone at all. When I hear from Andre again, it's because he said that he had an accident in my car and that he was waiting on the ambulance and the police to show up.
Well, there's no question that the two of you at that time were a couple and together, correct?
Right.
And he had used the car before.
No.
Oh, yes, he had.
No. No.
Yes, I have.
Oh,
She
there's no question he had used the car before.
Yeah, he's had never was able to drive the car. He can't drive the car. He's not supposed to drive because he has seizures. And by law, you're not supposed to drive for 6 months after you have one.
He has a driver's license.
But on the report, it'll show you he got a ticket for his driver's license being suspended. He was not supposed to be driving. I only had liability on my car. I never let him drive.
I guarantee you, madam, that if you were together, he drove your car before.
Yep, I did.
He may not have had an accident before, but he drove your car before.
No, ma'am. I've been around him when he's had the seizures, and he wrecked a previous car because of having a seizure. I never let him drive my car.
So then why didn't you call the police instead of trying to get him by text? If he has seizures, why are you texting him when he's driving your car?
I was calling him, trying to get him to come back.
You told me you were calling him and texting him.
Yes.
Why were you doing that if he was driving your car with seizures? Why didn't you call the police?
Because I was trying to tell him and give an opportunity to bring move was to call the police and to call him.
The truth is, I don't believe that.
I'm serious. I've never let him drive my car, and he knows he never drove my car. He doesn't have a reason to drive my car. He can't drive. He's not supposed to drive. He doesn't have a license, and he, like I said, he has seizures. He's not supposed to drive.
You can say it to me from today until tomorrow.
She's lying.
Oh, I know she is.
Yeah.
I know she is.
Yeah,
I know that
drove.
that's true.
Yeah.
I know that that's true. I know that that's true. That doesn't mean that you're not responsible for some of this because the car was totaled. It was not drivable.
She made me drive it, though. She
No.
threatened to call the police.
No, she didn't make you drive.
Yeah, well,
Nobody makes you drive, sir.
Well, I didn't want to go to jail about calling the police from being in the house.
Just a second. You have 2 legs. Walk out of the house.
That was too far to walk. With my clothes and all that, I had to walk all the way home.
Don't talk to me about clothes. You take a walk around the block. You walk to the police station. You say, listen, we were living together. We're not living together anymore. I want to go back and get my things that are at the house, and they'll take you back. You don't drive a car if you have a suspended license.
Yes.
Then you don't drive a car. And, you know, you get a friend to pick you up. You do something else. So that doesn't mean that you have no responsibility for this accident. When was your license suspended? Did you get it renewed?
I had it renewed, and then once I got them renewed, they got suspended again for child support.
Oh. When was it suspended again for child support?
I want to say 2011, 12, one of those. I really can't remember.
Do you work?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of work do you do?
Self-employed.
Self-employed what?
Construction worker.
So you do day stuff?
Yes, ma'am.
And you support yourself with that?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have your own apartment?
No.
Who do you live with?
I stay with my brother.
Since when?
Man, about the last 2 years. But I was staying with her, and I was just, when we get to arguments, I would go back to my brother's house.
Is that where you are now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. How much money do you make on average a week?
Say about $8,000.
A week?
A week?
Just about.
$8,000 a week? Why was your license suspended for back child support?
I wasn't paying it.
Why?
I mean, they couldn't take it. At first, I was paying it once I had a job, and then...
Well, you make $8,000 a week.
I have my daughter with me, so I don't... Why should I have... I don't feel like I should pay it.
Well, was she living with you when you were with her?
No.
She wasn't,
but she would come over. She would go with her mama. Her mama, she wanted to go stay with her mama. Her mama didn't really want her to be.
I want to see the letter from your insurance company.
Which letter?
A letter indicating that you have no coverage.
I have my insurance card, and I have pictures of the car.
Did you submit this to your insurance company?
No, I called my insurance company to...
No. Your insurance company had to have given you a letter that indicated you were not covered for any of the damage. Is your car totaled?
Yes, it is totaled.
Well, then you get a letter from your insurance company.
Okay. I called my insurance company to cancel my insurance because they were taking it out of my account every month.
No,
So once
that's not what I asked you. When the car was totaled, no longer a car, you call your insurance company, you say, do I have any coverage for this? You know, this is an accident, here's the accident report. Insurance companies send you a letter that says you only have liability coverage on your car, therefore you are not covered for any of this. That's the letter I want to see.
Okay. Here's the proof of insurance, and here's also the insurance policy that states that I'm the only one that would be covered for any type of damages. Or
well, I know that it says that you're the only one to be covered because that's what you signed on for. That doesn't mean that I believe that you never let him drive the car. You understand that? You can yabba all you like. It doesn't matter. But you had a suspended driver's license, sir. Yes, sir.
That's what I was trying to tell her, but she made me...
Nobody makes... How big are you? How tall are you?
Like 6'5", 6'4".
You're 6'5". How big is she?
She's small, maybe 5'2", 5'3", something.
Right. You know, if I said to you, I want you to put your hand on top of your head and twirl around like you're a little mannequin on top of the cake, would you do that?
No.
No, why?
Why?
I'm a judge.
What was the reason?
I'm a judge. I'm the same size she is. I can give you orders. I can give better orders than she can. You wouldn't do it because it's not smart.
Right.
It's also not smart to drive a car without a license. Because a suspended license is no license, because your license has been suspended, according to you, for 5 years.
I mean, well, she was telling me to get out. She was threatening to call the police, so what else could I do?
I just told you. I mean, do you have a short memory? I said use your legs.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today...
The person you want to marry is incarcerated.
Yes.
What is he incarcerated for?
Attempted murder.
And has he been tried yet?
No, he's going to trial now.
Didn't you think it might be a good idea to wait until the trial was over?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Ray Smith Jr., for totaling her car.
Okay, car was totaled?
Yes, ma'am. I have the pictures of the car as
You
well.
want to take a look, Bert, and just give me an idea of what a 2012 Jeep Compass costs. 2012 Jeep Compass. Did you buy another car?
No.
$13,350.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. We're done. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Because he was lying. I didn't tell him to take my car. He took it on his own.
She made me get out of the house. She let me drive her car.
I don't let him drive. But
Oh, I've been driving it. I always drive it, so...
okay, probably once at the most, but
Hey, she made me leave, and I ended up having a wreck.
there is not one.
Yeah, I let her know. She knew I was married, but she the one that kept
Because he has kids on the way, and he's married.
dealing with me after she found out, so...
Yeah, I guess we could be friends. I got my money, I'll be able to get a car.
Yeah, we could be friends if she want to, but hey.
So I'll probably be his friend after I purchase another car.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Miller versus Perez. Step forward.
LaQuanza Miller is suing wedding pastor Tanya Perez for the return of her wedding.
You wanted to get married on Valentine's Day. One of the problems that you faced is that the person you want to marry is incarcerated.
Yes.
And you have children with that person.
Yes.
How many?
We have 2 children plus my son, so 3 in total.
And how old are those children?
3 months, 3 years old, and 7.
Well, the 2 that belong to the man that's incarcerated are 3 months and...
3 years old.
And what is he incarcerated for?
Attempted murder.
And has he been tried yet?
No, he's going to trial now.
He's been incarcerated for how long?
Since June of last year.
And he's going to trial shortly?
Yes, he actually is going to court on the 1st of April.
To start a trial?
No, it's already in progress. The trial is already starting. We're going through the trial now.
So he goes back to court on April 1st?
Yes.
Didn't you think it might be a good idea to wait until the trial was over?
Yeah, I thought about that, but we actually talked about getting married before he even got in jail on Valentine's Day. So this is something that we wanted to continue, even though we were going through this problem now.
Well, this is not a little problem. This is a big problem.
Yeah.
In any event, you hired the defendant. You're a minister?
Yes, I
You
am.
can perform prisons before.
2007, I started, yes.
You started, or was that the only one that you did?
I used to do home weddings, beach wedding parks.
How many jail weddings did you do?
Possibly 100.
Since 2007?
Yes.
And all went without a hitch?
Yes.
Hers had a problem on Valentine's Day?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You know, with me, I guess she wanted to follow the rules, and it wasn't
May
able
turn
for
out
her
to be a
do it.
blessing for you.
Huh?
May turn out to be a blessing for you.
I don't...
I don't know. You'll know after April 1st.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
LaQuanza Miller says wedding pastor Tanya Perez owes for the return of her fee for a wedding that never happened.
Now, she paid you $500 to do this wedding, and she didn't get married.
She paid the notary the $500.
Not you. You never got the money.
I got the money after the paperwork was done with
So
the
you
notary.
got money?
With the notary, yes.
You got money. How much did you get?
$250.
And why wasn't the wedding accomplished?
On February the 14th, she was supposed to add me to her account so I can be able to go inside. Yes, ma'am.
Did you go to the jail?
Yes, ma'am.
And where do you live?
I live in Long Beach, California.
And where is the jail?
The jail is in Pitches Detention Center, which is in...
How long is it to get from your home to there?
About an hour and 10 minutes.
Did you drive?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you see her there?
She was supposed to meet me there at 12. I got there because I had another bride before her. So I got out of that wedding at 11:45. So I called and texted her and let her know that I was already waiting for her. Her visit was supposed to be at 1, so she was supposed to be there at 12. She didn't get there until 1 o'clock. So I waited for her, and so we was unsuccessful to get inside because she did not add me to her account.
Okay. Well, actually, my visit was for 2 o'clock, and she told me that to set it at 2 o'clock because she had a previous wedding to do before mine. And that's the last time that you can make a visit for the day is at 2 o'clock. So she's already lying about that, saying that it's 1 o'clock, whatever.
She was there.
She was there. We saw each other. We both went in together.
She was there. And what happened?
We went in.
Now, don't look down now. You see how you were looking at me?
Yeah.
She was there.
Okay.
So there was no reason that she couldn't have gone in, not a fault of hers.
Well, actually it is, because prior to us meeting on Valentine's Day, I scheduled it online. And I told her I tried to add her, and I couldn't, because it said that she already had been registered. She told me that she already had this problem before with previous wives that she was supposed to marry, but they were able to get in. So she told me, you know what, I'm going to still come up there, and we're going to see if I can get in this time. She came up there, we met up with each other, and they said, no, you can't get in.
So what do you want from her?
I want my money back because...
She's not giving you your money back.
Because it's her fault. The reason why she couldn't get in, it wasn't my fault. She
can't add herself to a list. Somebody else has to add her to a list.
Yeah, that's my job.
You or your fiancé.
No, that was my part. I tried to add her to it.
No, trying is not good enough. You have to try, and if you can't do it, you have to make a phone call. You have to keep trying. You have to do what you have to do in order to get it done. Trying is not enough.
Okay, well, so basically, I'm supposed to take care of what she was supposed to do.
No, she can't do it. You have to do it. She can't add herself to a list and say, I want to go into jail to see Johnny Jones. You have to add her.
Okay, well...
He has to add her.
This is the problem where that occurred, because she had to fix it. It wasn't my job to fix it. It was her job to fix it.
Well, evidently not.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Are you the victim of a scam? Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Let me ask you this question. Did you marry anybody else at the jail?
Before her, yes.
Yes. Did you have a problem?
No, ma'am.
No, not at all.
And actually, the same day that she married that person, she told me that they just walked in. They didn't do it the right way. So she basically did it on her own. It wasn't something that they were supposed to do. So then, you know, with me, I guess she wanted to follow the rules, and it wasn't able for her to do it.
May turn out to be a blessing for you.
Huh?
May turn out to be a blessing for you.
I
don't know. You'll know after April 1st.
But actually, it was her job to get it fixed, and I don't understand why you don't see that, because once she got it fixed, she texted me and told me she fixed the problem.
Oh,
and now
show me where she texted.
She can marry us.
Just a second. Show me on that date, on Valentine's Day, February 14th, where she said, I fixed the problem.
It wasn't on Valentine's Day when she got it fixed. She got it fixed, I believe, a week after Valentine's Day. This is after we were supposed to get married.
Oh, so what difference does it make?
I mean, exactly. That's how I felt when she told me that. What difference does it make?
Miss Miller, we're done.
Wait, Your Honor, why is that?
Because I explained it to you. You don't like it? I explained it to you. It's not her fault. It's your fault. It's the prison's fault. Probably is a big favor.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
To get married.
Before you go there, you have to add somebody to the list.
I had to go by myself because she wasn't able to go inside with me.
When I show up, I'm not on the list. You cannot go inside.
Very upsetting, just like it is very upsetting for me today.
She just made a mistake. It was easy to be fixed.
No, we're still going to get married. It's just not going to be with her.
If she would have called me, we could have resolved this at home instead of here.
Division over her dead mother's vehicle.
So we have this old truck that was in your mother's name, and Mr. Enholm has the truck.
When a widowed husband is denied by his stepdaughter.
This couldn't have been a legal marriage, and therefore the truck really should have been yours.
She's telling everybody that we were divorced.
You may not want to treat it as a marriage, but your mother treated it as a marriage.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Chris Erickson is suing her late mother's widower, Philip Enholm III, for the return of a truck and personal items taken without permission.
Order. All rise.
Matter of Erickson versus Enholm.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat, please.
Bottom line, Miss Erickson, you believe Mr. Enholm stole a truck that legitimately belongs to you.
Yes.
And that happened because there was a period of time when your mother, who is now deceased,
Yes.
and who was incarcerated.
Well, no, she was incarcerated 15 years ago, or so. It was 2001 when they got arrested.
She was arrested with the defendant. And at that time, they were a couple.
Yes.
So that was a long time ago that they were a couple.
Yes.
What were you arrested for?
We had picked up some trash on the side of the road, and it turned out to be methamphetamine.
Give me the name of the crime.
Oh, possession of... did manufacture methamphetamines.
So, manufacture of methamphetamine. I don't want to hear what that you found that on the side of the road. You were arrested for manufacturing meth. In what year?
I believe it was 2001.
How long were you incarcerated?
I got 12 years, and I believe I did 6 and change out of it. I'm not sure exactly how many.
And Miss Erickson's mother?
She got 11 years, and she did 5 and change.
So you were both convicted?
Correct.
And after you were both released, did you live together?
Yes, we did.
Is that correct?
Yes.
I'm trying to figure it all out.
Yes.
So how long had you been together prior to your arrest?
A little over a year.
And when did your mother pass away? What year?
Last year.
You were together for 15 years.
Married for 15.
You were together
Yes, ma'am.
for 15 years.
Yes, ma'am.
And your mother had been married before.
Yes.
To whom?
To my father, Erwin Erickson.
And when was the last time your mother lived with Mr. Erickson?
It had been a while. He had filed for a divorce.
Just give me the year.
1978.
Now, when was the last time you lived with Miss Erickson's mother?
Less than a month before she died. I have the rental receipts here.
She had a stroke?
Yes.
And when did she pass away?
She passed away October 24th, 2015.
And you had an apartment together?
Hotel room.
You lived in a hotel?
Yes, we were.
Your mother didn't live with you?
She lived with my aunt.
When?
She lived with my aunt from like August until she entered the hospital.
Oh, you're talking about 2015?
Yes.
That's all.
Okay.
All right, so we have this old truck that's, I don't know, 20 years old, that was in your mother's name.
Yes.
And Mr. Enholm has the truck. You said Mr. Enholm married for 15. And from reading the papers, I assume that you and Miss Erickson had, the mother had, while you were incarcerated.
Yes, confidential marriage.
A what?
They call it a confidential marriage when you're incarcerated.
You know.
It's a legal marriage.
In what state?
In California. I have the marriage certificate here.
I'd actually like to take a look at
Sure.
it. I've never heard the expression confidential marriage. Sometimes men say I have a confidential marriage.
They need the photocopiers, but it's all legal.
You know, it's not actually urgently important to me. The urgently important thing to me is, as bizarre and perhaps unhealthy the relationship that you had with Miss Erickson's mother, and I don't know if it was unhealthy because of you or her, I'm not sure. I mean, but people who make crystal meth and who are sentenced to 12 years in prison for making crystal meth, that's not a healthy relationship. But it was a relationship. I mean, it was what it was. You were together for 15 years, and she, for a quarter of a century, or more than a quarter of a century, she didn't live with Miss Erickson's father. Her claim is that she never got a legal divorce from your father, and therefore, this couldn't have been a legal marriage, and therefore, the truck really should have been yours.
Yes. And
My mother had a life. It was her life. It may have been a wasted life. I don't know.
Yeah.
Only you know whether it was a wasted life. Either he made it a wasted life for her, or she made it a wasted life for him. The truth is, I don't know, and at this point, it's too late for your mother to figure it out. But she lived with him in between incarcerations for 15 years. And my question was an important one for my thought process. When she got out of jail, did they resume living together? And you said yes. So when she was released from prison and he was released from prison, they resumed cohabiting together as a couple.
Yes.
Then she treated it as a marriage. Your mother treated it as a marriage. You may not want to treat it as a marriage, but your mother treated it as a marriage. As bad for her as it might have been, that was her thing.
Right.
He was her thing. and it's his truck, not yours, because she had an old marriage that was 35 years dead, and you think because she had a dead 35-year marriage, she couldn't have married him in a confidential marriage in the state of California. You want to say something?
I do.
You can stand up and say whatever you like. You're the aunt.
Yes, I'm the
Go.
aunt. Whenever Sherry got the pickup,
they were together during the time they lived together, and they used the pickup.
off and on.
What?
I said they were together off and on through the 15 years.
That's correct. Well, off and on. When they were incarcerated, they don't have joint cells for,
Well,
you know,
yeah.
for couples.
After they got out also. They basically only lived together when Sherry could get them a house.
Well, they lived in the
That
hotel.
was it's your sister, right?
Yes. Right.
That was her choice. He was her choice.
I know that.
Wouldn't be your choice.
She said she felt sorry for him.
Yeah.
No.
I'm not
let me
disputing the
Let me tell
fact.
you something.
I know.
Let me tell you something. She had a perfect opportunity when she was released from prison to escape him if it was something she didn't want.
That's true.
Well, she did escape him at the end. In her final days, she lived at my aunt's. She was done.
Good. Listen, you have the truck?
Yes.
You have the title to the truck?
Yes, and I have
Good,
something.
we're done. We're done about the truck. You
He
can have a
forged
seat.
it.
You can have a seat. We're done about the truck. Now, let's go to the personal items. Were those
Yes.
things in the truck?
Yes.
Okay. At some point, you came and got the truck, and there were things in there that she said belonged to her.
With the
What were
sheriff's
they?
escort. I didn't see but an old bag of some McDonald's residue, you know, remnants. I didn't see anything in the truck.
An
And I'm
old
not saying there
bag,
couldn't
an
have
old
been.
bag of what?
Like McDonald's trash, where somebody had gone to McDonald's.
Yeah, I don't.
A bag, you know, just hamburger stuff.
Do you have?
Had tools that were all gone.
No.
All right. You have a counterclaim. It's equally
Yes,
as
ma'am.
ridiculous. What's your counterclaim for?
Damage to the truck, and I've had to go to the hospital for my blood pressure has gone way up and everything, and all the pain and suffering been displaced.
Listen.
And she went ahead and said that on this paperwork said divorced. She's telling everybody that we were divorced.
Listen to me.
It's in her handwriting. It's okay.
It's not.
Basically, the pain and suffering. I can fix the truck on my own.
Listen, her family blames you for the path that her sister went down, that her mother went down. That's just normal, because they're not going to blame their mother. She's not going to blame her sister. They're going to blame you. No. Right. You know, whether it's right or wrong, it's an easy... Anger is an easier thing, because who would fight over a 20-year-old truck? It's just sort of ridiculous. But you have to understand, too, that the concept of their mother spending time in prison as a result of what you started to tell me, that you found some trash along the highway. Yeah. I mean, if we go back to the beginning of this tape, well, what were you incarcerated for? We were incarcerated for, we found some trash along the highway.
We did know what it was, though. It was methamphetamine residues from a different lab that somebody had done, and we were going to recycle it. I'm not going to say we weren't guilty of it.
Fine. The truck belongs to him. That's where your mother's heart was for the... We're done here. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I was told by Christy Erickson to leave the hospital.
That's not true. The hospital's the one that told him he couldn't come back
After only 5 minutes with my wife,
because he would call cussing the nurses.
and then they switched to another place and put her in a hospice.
And they told him that he couldn't come back because he wouldn't act in a silver matter.
It breaks my heart all the time.
If my mom would have left him the truck and I knew that, it would have all been good.
I cry all the time.
But he come in and she's dying in the hospital, and he comes in.
She was my soulmate.
Forges her name and takes the truck. Bottom line.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Allen versus Powers, step forward.
Craig Allen is suing his ex-girlfriend, Sarah Powers, for the return of his portion of a security deposit.
Mr. Allen, you and the defendant met on a dating website, and in January of last year, you decided to rent a house together.
Yes, ma'am.
Which you did, and it was just the two of you living in the house?
Yes, ma'am.
And the arrangement, according to you, was that you split the rent and split all the things down the middle.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, the lease, unfortunately, lasted longer than the romance, because a couple of months after you moved in together, you moved out.
Yes, ma'am.
You stayed on in the house?
Yes, correct.
Are you still there?
Yes.
Do you have other roommates?
No.
So you live in
50.
And where is the house located?
Frisco, Texas.
And you plan on staying?
Yes.
Great. Prior to renting this house from Mr. Allen, where did you live?
I lived in a small town in Fort Worth, Texas, by myself.
In a house?
Yes.
In a house. And what was the rent in that house?
It was only $500 of that house.
How are you picking up the slack with the other part of the rent?
I have a large savings account from a previous employer that I saved.
Mr. Allen, who do you work for?
I work for a company in Frisco, Texas, a digital marketing company.
How long have you worked for them?
A year and 4 months now.
Prior to that, where were you working?
I worked for a small fire department outside of San Antonio.
Doing what?
I worked EMS, worked on an ambulance.
Full-time?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And where were you living prior to moving in with Miss Powers?
I lived at a house near the city where I worked at.
And what was your rent there?
It was $400 a month.
Did you live alone?
Yes, ma'am.
You moved into the house in January of 2015?
Yes, ma'am.
And you want your security deposit back since you left the house?
Yes, ma'am.
Miss Powers says that would be nice if you put in your share of the security. So, according to her, she paid the security deposit because you had no money.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He needed his surgery. It was dangerous driving with him, so...
You're even convincing yourself when you said it. You're not even convincing yourself when you said it.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Craig Allen says former live-in girlfriend Sarah Powers owes for the return of his share of a security deposit. Sarah is countersuing for car fees, a loan, and moving expenses.
Now, how much was the security deposit?
$2,900. $2,900, 2 months' rent.
So, Mr. Allen, would you show me, because we're not talking about so long ago,
yes, ma'am,
where you took out your $1,450 from?
Okay. I can show you where I took out the first month's rent as well as the $1,450 for the deposit.
Okay. I'd like to see it. Mr. Allen, do you wear glasses?
I need to.
I can see.
Here is the highlighted amount, and here is a copy of both of the money orders made for that.
Okay. Now you show me, Miss Powers, where you paid the entire security deposit.
Okay, it's right here on my bank statement.
Know that the landlord received the money. I want to see where you took out. The rent was $1,450, so it would have been $1,450 plus $29.
No, I'm sorry, $1,450 times 2 is $2,900 for the deposit.
Well, what about the first month's rent?
That was paid by check that Craig contributed because in December 14 and January 15, he lived at my house in Fort Worth for free and did not help me pay the rent.
Oh, no. It's getting very convoluted now. Okay. You had a one-year lease?
Correct.
Did you renew the lease?
I did by myself, yes.
Okay. Well, if you renewed the lease by yourself, he was entitled to his security deposit back, which was $1,450.
Your Honor, if I may kind of clear up something that Ms. Powers was trying to say. The terms in the lease stated that we were to pay 2 months' rent on top of the equivalent of 2 months' deposit. So it was a total of $5,800.
It's not happening.
No, I'm just saying that that's...
$1,450 is what you sued for.
Yes, ma'am.
You're suing for your deposit back.
That's it.
$1,450, and you're entitled to your deposit. She's starting to waft before I even get to her. She's starting to waft.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Did you have a joint account, Mr. Allen?
No, we did not.
Well, then you didn't pool your money. So my question to you is, with regard to your eye surgery...
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Craig Allen says former live-in girlfriend Sarah Powers owes for the return of his share of a security deposit. Sarah is countersuing for car fees, a loan, and moving expenses.
Now, you have, Miss Powers, a whole bunch of things in a counterclaim.
Yes, ma'am.
That most of which I find nonsensical. Money owed for car fees, because you say that he borrowed your car and you were charging him 10 cents a mile for those 2 months.
Correct.
Yeah. Did you sleep in the same bed?
Yes, we did.
I'm not hearing 10 cents a mile. What's next? An unpaid loan. Let's hear. Unpaid loan. What's the unpaid loan?
For his eye surgery and required prescriptions, another copay to the doctor because he didn't have the money. He needed his surgery. It was dangerous driving with him. And so I had it at the last minute, and I said, you can borrow it.
I mean, you're not even convincing yourself when you said it. You're not even convincing yourself when you said it.
I am very convinced.
Oh, you may have paid it, but you're not even convincing me. Now, you want to tell me about your eye surgery, Mr. Allen?
Yes, I did have eye surgery in April of 2015. Absolutely. Shared everything. That's the cost of doing business. I never went after her for things that I paid. I chalked it up to...
When you lived together, did you have a joint account, Mr. Allen?
No, we did not. I banked in San Antonio and she banked...
Well, then you didn't pool your money. So my question to you is, with regard to your eye surgery, which you did have?
Yes.
I don't think it worked. Now, I want to know how it came about, since you had two different bank accounts, that Miss Powers paid for your eye surgery.
When I went to check out at the eye doctor, they said, this is what it's going to be. And before I could even talk to them about a medical loan that they do in-house, she said, here, and paid for it.
Fine. How much was... Shh.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
How much was the eye surgery?
It was the deductible for the insurance, to be exact.
No. Just give me a number.
It was $1,090.15, including the deductible prescription.
$1,090.15. $90.
Yes.
I just want to know what the eye surgery was. Don't give me doesn't. The eye surgery, yes, absolutely. $360. He just had eye surgery. You handed him your credit card. He's got the eyes, good vision, bad vision, whatever. I'm deducting that from the $1,450 you owe him. So far, he's ahead of the game, $360. What else do you think he owes you?
Half of the moving expenses because his job required him to move. Half of the moving expenses because I didn't have to move. He had to move.
We're not here to rewrite your history, madam.
This is my countersuit.
I understand. I understand what it is.
He owes me $24.91.74.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does.
Well, you're not going to get it. How's that? He's not going to pay you for prescriptions. He's not going to pay you for his moving expenses because his job required him to move and yours didn't. He's going to pay you for his eye surgery. He's got the eyes, and I could figure exactly how that happened. He didn't have time to ask for a loan, but he's already had the surgery done, so you took out your credit card and gave it to them.
I knew he
well,
didn't
you're
have any
entitled
money.
to that. You're entitled to that back. He should have made those provisions before he went in. So he's suing for his security back, which he paid, which he's entitled to, which is $1,450, less $1,090, which means you still owe him $360. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done. Thank you.
Continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Miss Powers has a very serious drinking problem.
The things he accuses,
It got to be just an unlivable situation in the house.
they're not true. I have a rebuttal for each one of them.
There were many times where she came in and assaulted me while I was asleep.
But I never hit him. I did not.
She would just scream profanities as she's intoxicated.
Yes, I raise my voice, but when someone's very upset, that happens sometimes.
Extremely difficult. It's something I'll never do again.
And my brother and his brother came to the house that night for my protection.
Not make the same mistake.
I was afraid that Craig would become violent after witnessing him
No more online dating with this nonsense.
be violent with some objects within our home.
I'm happy that it's finally resolved and this chapter in my life is closed.
A broken motorcycle.
Where is the bike?
It's in another shop, and it's not running.
So evidently you didn't do such a good job.
A dissatisfied customer.
He did not give me an estimate at that time.
Did you ask him for one?
No.
Why not?
Good question.
And a shady shop owner.
He wanted so many things done, it was hard to give a total estimate.
You've been in business 17 years, Mr. Graybow. I'm getting a feeling that you're running this business a little loosey-goosey.
Judge Judy.
Of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Ashley Masters and her stepfather, Mark Sepulveda, are suing mechanic Christopher Graybow for the cost of motorcycle repairs.
Order. All rise.
Yeah, it's case number 591 on the calendar in the matter of Master Sepulveda versus Graybow.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Miss Masters, you bought a motorcycle. It was an old motorcycle. You wanted to have it fixed, and you and/or your stepfather gave Mr. Graybow money to do some repairs on the motorcycle. And now you want all the money back. And Mr. Graybow says, you know, they paid me the money and I did the work. What kind of work is your full-time work, Mr. Graybow?
I'm the owner of the motorcycle shop.
And how long have you been the owner of the shop?
17 years.
Anybody work for you?
Yes, ma'am.
How many people?
2.
Okay. Now, when Miss Masters brought in the motorcycle, did you give her an estimate?
I just had explained to Mr.
No, I want you to follow my question. I said, did you give her an estimate?
We gave Mr. Sepulveda...
Not we. No. You.
I gave Mr. Sepulveda an estimate.
And what was that estimate? That's either a yes or a no. You've been in business 17 years, Mr. Graybow. I'm getting a feeling that you're running this business a little loosey-goosey. Because if you've been in business 17 years, somebody comes into your store, car, whatever. What they do is they say, let me take a look at it, and then I'll give you an estimate of how much it'll be to fix it, right?
Correct.
So my question is, did you give him a written estimate for $2,000?
No.
Why?
It was the kind of bike that needed so much work that we had to do it a little bit at a time, and I kept Mark updated on what the costs were going to be because he wanted so many things done. It was hard to give a total estimate with all those items needed to be done.
You mean when the bike was first brought into you, there was no direction as to what was to be done with the bike?
Yes, there was.
And what was that?
We were to install switches, wiring.
Who bought the parts?
The customers brought most of the parts in.
Customer bought the parts. You were just supposed to put them in.
Correct.
And that was the initial thing that you were told to do.
Correct.
And you said my labor is going to be $2,000.
Roughly.
Is that what he told you?
No.
What did he tell you?
He told me we could fix the bike. I asked for turn signals, a flat tire repair, and then update me as to you when we...
This is what I need on the bike. Tire repair.
Yes.
Turn signals.
Correct.
How much? Not update me as you get into the project.
Okay. He did not give me an estimate at that time.
Did you ask him for one?
No.
Why not?
Good question. I don't know why not. Because I trusted him. I don't know.
I don't know. So what are you bothering me for?
Yeah.
Is my question. How much did you pay him altogether?
$2,000 and some change.
$2,000?
Plus, yes.
And you have the bike?
Correct.
Where is the bike?
It's in another shop, and it's not running.
So evidently you didn't do such a good job.
Correct.
Never use them again. That's a buyer's remorse. I don't understand what your lawsuit is about. I mean, he may be a lousy mechanic, but he didn't extort any money from you. What?
So I called him and got a quote over the phone.
Yes.
And so I told him about that, Mark, and he went to surprise me and dropped off the bike knowing that quote. We had a box of parts with a list in that box of parts saying what that list of parts was.
Just a second. So show me the quote.
No, he never had an estimate. It was verbal over the phone.
And what did he tell you?
He told me that it would be about $500 to put those parts in.
Oh, but you gave him all kinds of other things to do. He told him, keep me updated as you keep progressing. Listen, you got to get it together. You live in the same house?
No.
What was he doing taking care of your business?
It was supposed to be a surprise, a project we were going to both work on together.
A surprise for whom?
For me. To do a nice thing for me.
So what did you have to do with it if it was a surprise? What did you call him?
I had ordered all these parts because we went to him because we wanted to get safety issues taken care of professionally.
Okay, listen. You paid him $2,000. You got the bike back. On what date did you return the bike, Mr. Graybow?
The first time or the second time, Your Honor?
Let's go with the first time.
It was picked up on 10/31/2015.
And how long did you have the bike at that time?
Approximately a month, Your Honor.
Okay. When's the next time?
After Mr. Sepulveda picked it up, it failed after about 15 miles. So we went...
What do you mean it failed? Do you mean it stopped?
It stopped. The battery went dead.
Let me understand this. You had the car for a month, and after they drove the car that you had for a month, it stopped running after 15 miles.
The battery went dead.
I don't care what went dead. It stopped running.
It's an old bike, Your Honor. Had more issues, more problems.
So they brought it back when?
No, I went and picked him up, dropped him off at his house, brought the bike back to our shop.
On what date?
I think the same day I brought it back. The same day, and then he picked it up a week later.
Date?
What date?
10/31,
10/31.
October 31st.
Okay. And how much had you paid him between September and October 31st? How much money?
I believe $900.
$900. So after you paid him $900, the bike didn't work and you were ridiculous enough to let him take it back.
Under warranty, yes.
It was not under warranty. What kind of warranty?
He has a 30-day. Yes, he did.
Oh, you worked on the battery? Mr. Graybow,
No, ma'am.
did you buy a battery?
Yes.
You
And
bought
it
a
went-
new battery.
And it went bad, so he charged it up and hooked up more wires to it from the wiring that he did for the turn signals and the harness.
How long did you keep the bike into November?
1 week, Your Honor.
And that 1 week was $1,100.
No, ma'am. It was $180 just for that.
$180.
Yes, ma'am. We had to repair
Where'd
the-
you get the $2,000 from?
That was from all the previous work we did.
He said it was only $900.
At that point.
That was the total.
I thought you just told me that it was $900.
Not total.
That was his balance at the time. Because he made a few deposits along the way as we went.
When was the last time you picked up the car from him?
That was on the 7th of November, the last time.
And on what date did you bring it into a new shop?
I brought it on March 22nd. I was told I needed an estimate.
March?
Yeah.
And where was the car between November and March?
It was sitting
the
in...
car, the motorcycle. Just go like that to me.
Thank you.
Poke me with this. Poke me with this.
We were waiting for him to reply as to how he was going to fix it or go to court.
Excuse me.
So that's why it was sitting for so long.
Okay. Miss Masters?
Yes.
Next time you take your motorcycle...
I tried to contact the mechanic.
Next time you believe is reliable, you get a written estimate. Exactly what they're going to do and for how much they're going to do it. And I would suggest that one person handle all the details because he doesn't have to return any of your money. Picked up the motorcycle, you didn't bring it into another place for 6 months, and you don't get your money back.
Okay, but it went in running, and now it's not running?
I don't care.
Okay.
Then he's not a good mechanic. Then don't recommend him to anybody. But you don't get your money back.
Okay, but also we told him from the drop-off of the bike that we would get any parts he needed. And if I printed out all the stuff I have...
I don't care.
Okay.
Nobody held a gun to your head. Pay him for what he's done. Take your bike out of the shop. What?
Isn't there a law saying that he's supposed to give us an estimate?
Are you asking me questions? I get paid by the hour. I'm very expensive. What I'm telling you is, you're the consumer. I would go in and get an estimate of work that I wanted done and make a decision as to whether or not I want to do that work. Listen, I went to the dentist yesterday, sitting in the chair, all of a sudden the dentist leaves, somebody else comes in with a whole chart. This is what it's going to cost. This is today's visit. This is next week's visit. This is the lab bill. This is this. Do you want to do that? Fine. Sign what? But it's the first time it ever happened to me. And I've been around the block a couple of times. Most of the time you go in and you get to the front desk and they say that'll be $2,000. You say, why didn't somebody tell me? Why didn't you ask? Is that your question? Why didn't somebody tell me? Why didn't you ask? Well, I'm just going to give you the same answer that the dentist will tell me.
Right.
Right? You should have asked. How much is it? The whole ball of wax. We're done. Thank you.
Thank you.
The case is dismissed.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
It's an old motorcycle. Obviously, there was something else wrong with it, which we did fix.
Drive down the freeway 15 miles, and it bogs out.
They refused to pay for it. I just let them have the bike,
But it was the principle that the bike kept breaking down.
You know, I wished all the best to him.
And he was doing work without my consent.
But it's just an old motorcycle.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Bruno versus Brewer. Step forward.
James Bruno is suing his former tenant, Carla Brewer, for damage to his rental home.
Mr. Bruno, the defendant was the tenant in a home that you owned for 5 years. When was her tenancy from? From when to when?
It was October of 2010, leaving on July 5th, 2015.
And when you rented the house to her, who were the tenants in the house?
The lease called for her husband, Gary, her 10, 8, and 12, maybe, right in that range.
When the lease started?
Correct.
Now, when had you purchased this house?
Approximately 3 years prior.
Did you buy it at a distressed sale, at a distressed price, or was it height of the market?
Can I explain? I own the house across the street, and there was an elderly woman that lived in that home. She passed away. A relative came to sell the home. And I went over and talked to him, and we just discussed, and we negotiated a deal and bought the house.
So an elderly person lived there for a long time.
Correct.
And you bought it in 2007. Did you ever live in the house?
I did not.
Did you rent it in 2007?
Yes, I did.
From 2007 to when?
It's still rented now. It's right close to a college, so we get a lot of students, so we get 1-year lease, and then they're out, and then
so
another.
You had students living there from 2007 to 2010?
No.
Who did you have living there?
I had a young couple living there from 2007 to 2009, and then students from...
Students from 2009 to 2010.
Correct.
Can you produce any bills for me of any renovations that were made prior to the defendant moving into the house?
No.
So can you present any bills to me of any renovations that you made to the house prior to the young couple moving into the house?
No.
So it would be fair to say, Mr. Bruno, and the time you purchased the house until the time that the Brewers moved out of the house, you made no structural changes to the house or any major repairs?
Painted the outside.
That was it?
That was it.
So you did a little cosmetic work. So
Correct.
The bathrooms, the kitchen, and everything else were the same when the elderly lady lived there for many years, up through 2015.
Yes, ma'am.
Now you're claiming that after 5 years of tenancy, the defendant caused a great deal of damage to the house, and you wanted to be responsible for that damage.
Correct.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I'm looking at the bottom of that door, and I see a door that's falling apart. And it's not coming apart as a result of anything anybody did to it. It's coming apart because it's ancient.
I disagree with you.
You disagree with the bottom of that door?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
James Bruno says former tenant Carla Brewer damaged his rental home.
Now, did she have a security deposit with you?
She did.
How much?
$950.
Did you give it back to her?
I did not.
Okay, so now I'd like you to show me pictures of what you claim a damage that Miss Brewer inflicted on your property that has not been renovated in well over a decade. What is this a picture of?
Pantry.
Are you planning on renting this house again?
It is rented currently.
With the same oven?
Oh, no.
You put in a new oven?
No.
What did you do?
It was cleaned. Took them a while, but they cleaned it.
What's this a picture of, sir?
There is a separate storage room just off the back patio, and that's the door to it.
Well, I'd like you to look at the bottom of this door, and I'd like you to tell me what the bottom of that door looks like, sir. Tell me what damage do you think a person did to that door as opposed to years of neglect?
I can't tell you what the people did to it.
No, I'm just asking you. I'm looking at the bottom of that door that you would like her to pay for, and I see a door that's falling apart, that's coming apart. And it's not coming apart as a result of anything anybody did to it. It's coming apart because it's ancient.
I disagree with you, Your
You
Honor.
disagree with the bottom of that door?
Also, Your Honor, we did not charge her for the door.
So what are you showing me a picture of it for?
Well, we repaired the hole in the door and the hole on the other side of the door that had a fist hole in it. And if you look, it's consistent with most of the bedrooms.
You see, if I were a reasonable landlord, I would have replaced the whole door, which is falling apart, and paid for it myself. This house has been a cash cow for you for 5 years. I would have done some major renovation in it. What you want to do is rent to students and leave it like a pig pen. And if you leave it like a pig pen, that's the way people are going to treat it. And what's this supposed to be a picture of?
That's the air conditioning unit in the backyard that had a screwdriver or something punctured.
Or rats. I don't know what it is. Okay. How much was your rent over the 5 years?
It started out at $950, then it was raised $50 3 times since then.
So, did you buy this house free and clear, sir, or is there a mortgage on it?
There's a mortgage.
How much?
Roughly the balance is $130,000 now.
How much do you pay for the mortgage a month and taxes?
$1,400 a month.
Well, then her rent doesn't cover the mortgage.
You're correct.
Then how do you expect to be in business?
Well, it's based on...
Well is not an answer.
I apologize. The property value, hoping that the property values increase and we're able to sell it, and it's not all about the monthly income.
How much do you rent the apartment to college students?
$1,200 a month.
And is that what you were paying?
$1,250, I believe, wasn't it? No.
So now you're renting it to college students again?
I am.
How many?
3. Place looks great.
Wait till the end of the year.
Yeah.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Were those the pictures of what the house looked like when you moved in?
No, I don't think so.
That was the actual picture from the Craigslist ad that she answered.
Well, that doesn't mean that that's when that...
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
James Bruno says former tenant Carla Brewer damaged his rental home.
Now, I don't find anything here so egregious. I don't find anything here more egregious than normal wear and tear with 5 adults living in a house that hasn't been cared for in well over a decade. Usually, I'm very lenient to landlords because I don't like people that destroy their property. But you're using this property as a cash cow. You're doing no renovations in it at all. There's a stove that you showed me that looks like it's at least 25 years old, that if I were renting it to anybody, I would spend $250 and replace. You chose not to do that. You chose not to replace a door that's falling apart. You probably puttied up a hole. If I owned property that I was happy with and that I thought would increase in value, I mean, unless what you're thinking of is that somebody's going to come in and tear down the house because the value of the property is what the value is, not the house.
Does the lease have any bearing on that they have an obligation to put the house back in the same condition it was when they moved in?
Show me the condition it was when they moved in.
Here you go. Unfortunately, not as many pictures, and I've got countless other pictures of the rest of the damage, Your Honor.
Just a second.
There's
I'm
damage.
looking.
I don't understand why the damage doesn't matter.
Just a second. Is this the way the bathroom looked when you moved in?
I might have to see them closer,
Okay.
please.
Absolutely beautiful pictures.
It's a beautiful house.
And I'm looking. I don't have any of those same pictures in this group of pictures that you gave me. The bathroom.
Your Honor, what about the
kitchen.
things on the list? I have a list of what was done. The faucets.
I don't care what was done.
So if they take a faucet and
I don't care.
That
what
doesn't
was,
matter?
I don't care what you did, sir.
Oh.
I don't know who did it. You had an old house that you took marginal care of. Now, I'm asking you a question. Is that the way the kitchen, bathroom looked when you moved in?
These look better. I mean, the pictures, I don't know when these were taken.
My question was, were those the pictures of what the house looked like when you moved in?
No, I don't think so.
Well, they're not dated.
Yeah, that was the actual picture from the Craigslist ad that she answered. But
Well, that
and the
doesn't
reason
mean
the house was
that
painted,
doesn't mean that that's when that pictures
house
were
was
taken.
painted.
Because right before she moved in, sir, you had a bunch of college kids living there.
I did not have a bunch of college kids, Your Honor. I had 3 college kids.
Yeah, Mr.
They did
Bruno,
not do the damage.
Let me explain something to you. I'm not giving you any more money.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Are you the victim of a scam? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Nothing in it. You had a paying tenant who paid you every month on the rent. There's no issue with regard to that. You kept us security for cleanup of the house. You've rented the house consistently, sometimes to college kids, sometimes to couples. The couple only lasted a short period of time. They lasted 5 years. So if you want a nice sparkling house, I suggest that you take care of it. Your case is dismissed. We're done.
Excuse me, step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I do have 4 kids, and there are things that go on, but...
It was destroyed. It was disgusting. It was as bad as I've ever seen in 20 years of renting houses.
I don't know what happened with the holes.
It's as bad as I've ever seen. They did nothing to clean it.
It's kind of comical.
They did nothing to clean it for the 5 years they lived there.
The cleaning and the things that need to be fixed, I felt like the deposit was appropriate.
I've never had to take a student to court. I've taken some of their security deposits, but for the most part, given them back. They treat the house 10 times better than these people did.
Like, ask him to come over and fix things more, so maybe I wasn't loud enough about it.
Never rent to them again, and pray for their current landlord.
I am glad that he's not our landlord.
When it came to cohabitating,
He had an affair with my girl. That's not true, Young. That is true.
A good idea that you remain roommates.
Exactamundo.
Exactamundo.
but he's not cutting him any slack.
We were still up under the lease.
Find somebody else to live. His girlfriend wants to live with you.
No.
Judge. This is Judge Judy.
Jeffrey Mobley, cousin, Prince Harrison, for unpaid rent and for causing damage to their apartment with a baseball bat.
Order. All rise.
This is case number 513 on the calendar in the matter of Mobley versus Harrison.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Mr. Mobley, the defendant is your cousin. He was also, according to you, your roommate in an apartment that the two of you leased together. It is your claim that he skipped out of the lease owing months' rent, and he damaged some property while he was living in the apartment.
That is correct.
I'd like to see the lease.
Okay.
The rent on the apartment was...
$625 each of us will put in.
Mr. Harrison, in what month did you leave the apartment? The lease was from February of 2015 to February of 2006.
I'm not sure, but I think it was on the 6th.
Of what?
Of November.
And had you paid November's rent?
No, I didn't.
Did you pay October's rent?
Yes, ma'am.
Why hadn't you paid November's rent yet? Because that's what the argument was about, November's rent.
Well, Your Honor, actually, I was going to, but Mr. Mobley, my cousin, the way he approached me and the way he talked to me about paying the rent, he was disrespectful, and his language was, like, inappropriate. And I had just told him a couple of days before I was going to pay him, but the way he came about it, the way he approached me, and then that night I came home, hanging out with friends, I was already upset because I found some information that he was having an affair with my with my girlfriend. So on the night of the incident, he approached me wrong. I got upset.
And you lost your temper?
I lost my temper.
You picked up a baseball bat, according to this.
Yes, ma'am. I picked up a baseball bat, but that was like probably about 15 minutes after we went back and forth, you know, about the rent and about him having an affair with my girl. And he didn't want to answer that, so I actually got upset because he was trying to avoid the question and threw at him. Then I grabbed the bat and I didn't actually chase him, but I was so upset I was just pondering the sofa, and he ended up eventually leaving the apartment running.
It was a good idea for him to leave, right?
Mm-hmm. I guess so, because I was upset. You know, he had an affair with my girl, and... That's not true, Young. That is true.
Listen to me. I don't know if it's true or not. It's not important for the purposes of this proceeding.
Amen.
But if he did, that wasn't a good thing, and you probably shouldn't, even if he didn't, and you think that he did, it probably wasn't a good idea that you remain roommates. You agree with that, sir?
Exactamundo.
Exactamundo.
That's right, John. Checkout time.
For one of you?
For me. That when he grabbed the bat, I checked out. I went to my aunt's.
But then you came back.
Yes, I did. When I was kind of sure he wasn't there to check and see what all mayhem had occurred.
So you came back when you were satisfied that he wasn't going to be in the apartment.
With what I left, if that was still going on, I was going to stay away from that.
After that incident, you didn't want to live with him anymore.
Oh, correct, yeah.
Well, then why are you suing him for 3 months' rent?
Because he still owed me for that. I still had to pay it. We were still...
Maybe his girlfriend wants to live with you.
No. That's not... Your Honor, first of all, he drinks a lot. That's my cousin. We're kind of like babysit him. He drinks a lot. Okay. That's neither here nor there. I don't want his girlfriend.
He said he was already upset.
Yeah.
But you would agree, Mr. Mobley, that it was a very good idea that the two of you, after this incident at the beginning of November, not live together anymore. Whether he leaves or you leave. Now, did you stay in the apartment?
Yes, I did.
Are you still there?
No, I moved everywhere. I finished off the lease, and then I moved.
And then you moved?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Well,
stop for the eviction on my record. To stop from getting an eviction.
You didn't want an eviction on your record. Where did you go, sir?
Actually, I went back to my parents' house.
Is that where you are now?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, it was his temper and his problem. You do understand, Mr. Harrison, that you are responsible for your share of the rent. Let me explain why. You came home upset. You picked up a bat. You started to do a number on the sofa with a bat. You threw some objects at him, which clearly must have broken when you threw them at him. So it was your actions that precipitated all this series of events. It's not for me to discover whether or not your actions caused you to leave the apartment. And you're obligated under the lease to pay your portion of the rent until the lease is up. That's your obligation.
You should have been on cheaters.
Shh.
You're right, Your Honor. It's my obligation. And I had intentions to pay him, but the way he, approached me about the situation, the way he kept harassing me, and the language he was using, then, like I said, I was upset by, the information I got from one of my friends that he was having an affair with my girl.
Okay. Now, Mr. Mobley, you want to tell me what he damaged? So far, he owes you $18.75 in rent.
But, Your Honor, I didn't damage
well, he's going to
as
tell
much
me.
as he say,
you probably didn't.
Saying that
You probably didn't. So he's going to be very careful in showing me what he says that you damaged when you had your hissy fit. Okay?
His unforgettable amnesia fit, Your Honor. My two TVs, they say he pushed those down, and my furniture. The dinette set, he cracked the glass on that. So that
Show
was
me.
Yes, ma'am.
No, those are bills. Show me the pictures.
This is just the pictures I had of him tearing up. I had my cousins come in. They took those. I
just want to see what the damage...
Yeah.
Listen, don't show me the bills.
Oh, okay.
Don't show me bills. First, I want to see pictures
right
of the
here.
damage.
Well, these the pictures they had.
Right, you're going to get paid for is what you have pictures of.
Oh, well.
Oh, well.
This all the mayhem that he did, yep.
I'd just like to take a look at it.
Yes, ma'am. And that's my cousin. I told them to go in and take a picture, but I guess they was trying to avoid really getting him in really, really serious trouble with all of the stuff, so they tried to downplay everything.
When you went back after a couple of days to your apartment, if your television set was destroyed, why didn't you take a picture?
It wasn't that. He got slick, removed everything that he knew could be incriminating to him. So in 2 days that I was there, when I came back, he had tried to clean up his mess, basically. That's why he's smirking right there. He tried to clean up his mess.
Just a second. Mr. Harrison, I believe that you have been truthful with me so far, okay? I want you to tell me what property you destroyed in the apartment.
Actually, ma'am...
Look at me.
Actually, ma'am, I really don't remember what I destroyed. I just picked up the objects, whatever the objects were, I just picked them up and threw them. I was kind of tipsy that night when I came home from friends, because I had been drinking, so...
Okay, so I don't want you to think about the night that you took a bat to the stuff. I want you to think when you went back to the apartment and started to clean it up. Look at me. What stuff did you throw out?
I don't remember throwing anything out.
Were there working televisions?
I can't remember. Okay, when I left on the 6th, I never went back.
He left.
When he left.
You were still there.
I was still there.
And so what I'm asking you is, what stuff did you get rid of that you had destroyed?
All I remember is, destroying what I destroyed. And
that's what I want you to tell me. What do you remember?
But I don't remember
what
because,
you destroyed?
Ma'am, I don't remember.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
If you have trouble with alcohol and you're having blackouts, I suggest you stop drinking so much. How old are you?
I'm 50.
You look pretty good for 50. For somebody who's 50 and abuses themselves. So you want to live to be 70?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Then I would stop drinking so much.
And later today...
How many months' rent did she pay you and you pay to the plaintiff?
I paid October. The November, I figured, was part of first and last month that I paid when I moved in.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Jeffrey Mobley says his cousin, Prince Harrison, owes for rent and for vandalizing their apartment.
Okay, Mr. Harrison, if you have trouble with alcohol and you're having blackouts, I suggest you stop drinking so much. Do you understand how old? You look pretty good for 50. For somebody who's 50 and abuses themselves. So you want to live to be 70?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Well, then I would stop drinking so much. Because having blackouts, you can go through the next 20 years not remembering 10 of them. You don't want to do that, do you?
No, ma'am. I have been trying, but...
Well, you don't remember what you destroyed of your cousins, but you certainly owe them for rent. And it looks like quite a mess that's in here. You certainly acknowledge that you went to hell in a handbasket with the bat on the sofa. I'm awarding you $4,000, Mr. Mobley. Thank you very much.
But for what? I don't owe them nothing.
Excuse, you may step out.
Judge seen through everything and made the day for me.
I did not damage that amount of property of his.
He has a different girlfriend bi-weekly every time he gets paid. It's just booze and women.
Regardless of that, I do have my lady, my main lady.
I just hope things work out and he get on the better half of stuff.
No more baseball games.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter, Hudson versus Kohler. Step forward.
Tara Hudson is suing her former tenant, Ryan Kohler, for unpaid rent.
Miss Hudson, how do you know Mr. Kohler?
His wife and I were good friends, but we lived in the same neighborhood at one time, attended
How
the
long
same
had you been
church.
good friends with his wife?
About a year. Residential home, about 1,500 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2-bath home.
Mr. Kohler and his wife were separated.
Correct.
Tell me, you were friendly with his wife. Tell me, what prompted you to rent him your house?
Both Melissa and reached out to me during their separation prior to their divorce to tell me that they needed a home for Ryan to live in, and because it was within the same proximity of where the children were at school, we thought it would be a great help for him as well as help their children.
And in what month and year did they reach out to you?
April of 2015.
And when did he move in?
He moved in on June 1st, Your Honor.
And what was the rent?
$1,200.
And you signed a lease, sir?
Yes.
For how long?
6 months.
Is that right?
No, 7 months.
Can I see the lease?
Yes.
Was it 7 months?
That's true. It's from June 1st to the end of the year. Yeah,
Okay, so
7 months.
7 months. And at some point you decided to reconcile with your wife. What month was that?
July.
Did you pay rent in July?
Yes.
Did you pay rent in August?
Yes.
Did you pay rent after August?
Yes.
September?
My rent check the month of September, I did pay. She waited until somewhere around the 25th to try to deposit that check, and at that point it bounced.
So you didn't pay September's rent?
I did give her that it bounced.
Did you in fact pay it?
I
for
did,
September?
yes.
Oh, so we're talking about October, then. Did you pay in October?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Correct.
November?
No.
So November and December not?
Correct.
And the lease was up on January 31st or December 31st?
December 31st.
Is that correct?
Correct. Well, January 1st, 2016.
Or January. So 2 months were unpaid so far.
Correct.
November and December. But you found a tenant
Correct.
to sublet the house. Did he discuss the tenant with you?
No, Your Honor.
Did not tell you he was going to have somebody else in the house?
No, he did not.
I mean, somebody just showed up.
Correct.
Who was this person?
Katie.
Katie what?
Katie Rydalch.
Where did you find her?
Craigslist ad.
Did you advise the plaintiff?
Yes.
When?
I initially started talking to her about subleasing at the beginning of September.
And?
She said that that would be fine. She did want to talk with whoever was going to sublease.
And?
Katie answered the ad for Craigslist. She was in need to move into someplace right away, which worked great for me. Agreed to take over the remainder of my lease.
Which is 2 months.
No, at that point it was 3 months, October, November, December. She would pay me, and then I would pay the Hudsons.
Okay. And how many months' rent did she pay you?
November.
And did you pay the plaintiff October and November?
I paid October. The November I figured was part of first and last month that I paid when I moved in.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
When is the Rose Bowl?
The Rose Bowl is in January, but we left in December.
Well, then, Miss Grant, you were in the apartment in December.
I walked in on December 26th to grab the rest of my stuff. That was
Listen
it.
to me. If your stuff was there, you were there.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Tara Hudson says former tenant Ryan Kohler owes for rent.
Okay, so you didn't pay November.
Correct.
Did she pay you in December?
No.
So you didn't pay her in December.
Correct.
So you owe her that money.
According to the lease, correct.
Fine. So it's $2,400. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Talking with the landlord ahead of time, making sure that everything is understood and clear up front.
Do clear background checks. Be very careful of who you screen.
More communication.
And obviously, maybe not do it with your friends.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Johnson Hawkins versus Grant. Step forward.
23-year-old Simone Johnson Hawkins, Chandrea Grant, for unpaid rent and damages to her apartment.
Miss Hawkins, how many people lived in your apartment?
3.
You?
My witness, Chelsea Alexander, and the defendant.
You were on the lease?
Yes, Your Honor.
She was not?
She signed a roommate addendum, adding herself to the lease.
When did you sign the lease?
I signed the lease in April of last year.
When did you sign a roommate addendum?
I never signed one.
Can I see it?
Yes.
Okay. Miss Grant, I just want you to take a look at this. That's your signature on a roommate addendum.
Yes.
Right. And that was signed in September. Okay, and you lived there until when?
November.
Did you pay September's rent?
No.
Why?
Actually, I was short.
You were short?
Yes, ma'am.
How much were you short?
Like $50, I believe.
How much were you supposed to pay for your share of the...
I believe $150.
How much did she pay in September?
In September, she paid maybe $130. She was short by maybe
$37.
Yes.
And what do you mean maybe? I mean,
she was short.
She was short, but I don't know how much short.
She was short by $37.
Okay. And what about October?
No, ma'am.
You didn't pay at all. Why?
I was having financial issues.
But you were living there.
Yes, ma'am.
So you owe that money. Okay. And what about November?
I moved out in November.
November what?
Around Thanksgiving. I don't know
Well,
exactly.
that's the end of November, so that you owe November's rent, $167 that you didn't pay.
You know, that's not the truth. She did not move out until December.
No.
$371 rent. Now, tell me about the damages and what you're claiming with, because you're each claiming that it was the other who made all this mess. On what date was the mess?
I got back to school from spring break on January 7th, and I returned to find these damages to my carpet.
Just 1 second. January 7th, was she there in December?
She was.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, when is the Rose Bowl?
The Rose Bowl is in January, but we left in December.
Well, then, Miss Grant, you were in the apartment in December.
No, I walked in on December 26th to grab the rest of my stuff.
If you had a toothbrush there, you were there. Because it says here, on December 26th, when I opened the door, it looked like a frat house. So you owe another $167 if you didn't pay it. $538. Okay. Now I'll take a look at the photographs.
If you look here and scroll to your left.
No, that's President Obama and Michelle dancing. They weren't at the party.
It was the pictures previous.
Wait, that's a nice picture of them dancing.
Maybe it's the other way. Maybe scroll to her left.
All right. Not a big deal. You owe her $538 for your rent. That's it. We're done. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I'm happy with it.
I'm happy I'm out.
Make sure you know who you're rooming with and make sure you know their financial situation.
You can't trust everybody, and everybody's not your friend.
Photo time for her grandkids.
You went in there for pictures that your mother-in-law was paying for.
I did not ask her to take holiday.
Man.
When you saw that he was in the holiday pictures, it really ticked you off.
Her soon-to-be ex-daughter-in-law doesn't see a problem.
Family and pictures would obviously include him.
Not necessarily. Do you have any idea of how many people I've tried to block out of family pictures?
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Nancy Krager is suing her estranged daughter-in-law, Beth Krager, and Beth's boyfriend, Nicholas Arbiso, for unpaid glamour shots of her grandchildren.
Order. All rise. This is case number 602 on the calendar, the matter of Krager versus Krager Arbiso.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Miss Krager, this young woman is, according to what I read, soon to be ex-daughter-in-law.
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Arbiso?
Yes, Your
Mr.
Honor.
Arbiso is her boyfriend.
Yes.
Your claim is that Miss Krager used your credit to purchase some photographs of the grandchildren, your grandchildren, her children, and some of those charges were not authorized.
That's right.
What the case is about. So before we start, I want to know why Mr. Arbiso is here.
Because he participated with the children as a family photo. So part of the charges on the final bill, he told me he would assume some of the responsibility because he was a participant in the photo shoot.
Did you ever have that conversation with her?
Yes, Your Honor, I did.
Okay, good. then I understand why he's here. Otherwise, I actually, from the papers, didn't understand why he was here. Okay, so let me try to frame this as what I see from the papers. You have a daughter and a daughter-in-law.
Yes, Your Honor.
And each of them has children.
Yes, Your Honor.
And your daughter and this young woman, Miss Krager, were sucked in to one of these things where they, photography studios, that says, we're going to have a contest for little girls. We're going to pick the prettiest little girl, whatever, and you're going to get a prize, and you're going to be able to model and whatever. Bring your child in. We're going to take a whole bunch of pictures and charge you thousands of dollars for them. And then we're going to pick somebody and give them a $5.95 statue. And they prey on the most vulnerable people in the world, grandmothers.
Grandma.
These hustle operations. So you thought it was a wonderful idea to take pictures of your grandchildren, and you went?
Yes.
With your sister-in-law?
Yes.
You have 2 children?
Yes, ma'am.
And how many children?
No, we each have a girl and we each have a boy, and it was just the girls did
Just the girls, because that's what happens. They
well, my
dress up.
son wasn't really into it, so.
Whatever. I mean, you do understand that this is usually, and I'm not saying for everybody, so don't sue me, not every operation is a sucker operation.
Yes.
But you understand that this is a sucker operation.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you went and took some pictures, and you ordered some pictures with your permission.
On the original amount of pictures, yes, ma'am.
With your permission. And then here comes this thing. Then let me read to you, Officer Byrd, what's in this thing. Because according to Miss Krager, after they took the pictures and ordered the pictures for the 2 girls, which were about $150, the studio called back and asked if they could use the girls' portraits for their wall because their girls were so beautiful, right?
Yes, according to
The
them.
girls were beautiful. Put your hand down. That's what they told you. The girls were beautiful, they were so unusual, the pictures so fabulous, and they wanted to use them for their advertising for their wall, right?
Yes,
See, I was almost there.
And the
Last
original
person
amount
who-
was $880.
Listen to me. I told you not to speak.
Okay.
And they said, after 90 days, you would get the portraits at a huge discount. That's what you wrote.
Yes.
And you didn't think that that was... Okay.
I've done pictures with them before when I was younger, and I know how much their wall portraits originally cost, so for their discount.
You didn't go in there for wall portraits. You went in there for pictures that your mother-in-law was paying for.
Yes, ma'am.
And you ordered the wall portraits, and who paid for them?
Nancy did.
Well, that wasn't the original agreement.
But after they had called me for the permission of the wall portraits, I asked Nancy if it was okay, and she told me to go ahead and do it.
Did you tell her how much it was going to be?
Yes, ma'am.
How much did you tell her it was going to be?
$150.
$150?
Yes.
Fine. And let's say she agreed to $150. $150 for you and $150 for your sister-in-law.
No, it was for both of them.
For both?
Yes.
So that's $150. And how much were the original photographs that she paid for?
A little over $800.
Is that right?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
That you authorized?
Yes, authorized. It was
$800.
$888.78.
$888 plus $150. So I want to know how it came to $5,887.25. You explain that to me. So far, she says, I'm willing to pay for pictures of my grandchildren for $1,000. Very nice of you. Nice. Did you get some of those pictures?
Yes, but most of family and friends got.
Cost you anything? Okay. Now you're going to explain to me how the bill quadrupled.
Okay. In October, Nancy made me an authorized user, and she requested family photos of us.
No, tell me, in October, you had a conversation.
Yes.
At that time, were you still living with her son?
No, I haven't lived with him since 2011.
Okay, so you're separated, and she knows that, and she knows that you have a boyfriend.
Yes.
Okay, fine. So she called and she wanted family pictures.
Yes. And she's known Nick has been in my life since 2014, so family and pictures would obviously include him.
Not necessarily. Do you have any idea of how many people I've tried to block out of family pictures? I've really become quite expert at it because, you know, sometimes you don't have the original. You use magic marker, you take a tree, you try to put a tree in there.
Well,
Nick has been in your life since 2014.
Yes.
But you understand that she doesn't want family pictures, even though he's in your life now, with him. You understand that. You're not her daughter. You're her daughter-in-law.
Yeah.
And so she wants pictures of you. That's just common sense.
Yes.
She wants pictures of you and her 2 grandchildren.
And we did take pictures of just me and the kids as well.
Of her family.
No, I did not.
No, that I don't believe. That I don't believe. You see, that's your problem. If you tell the truth, we're going to stay together.
I do, but she was unauthorized, and I have a statement of something she texted to me on the 18th of October saying that they wouldn't let her do anything because credit was in my name only. And I have a screenshot of that particular text that she sent me.
I want to see it. Is what you're telling me that you didn't ask her to take holiday pictures with her and the children?
No, I did not.
You did not?
The first 3 statements that came out, I just gave them directly to her because I was under the assumption that it was still the $888.
No. That's not what I asked you. Let's not try to get ahead of me.
Okay.
I'm going to repeat it one more time. Did you have a discussion with her and ask her to take holiday pictures of her and the children?
No, I did not, Your Honor.
You have any proof that she asked you to take holiday pictures?
No, I don't have any text message proof. It was a verbal conversation.
Oh, actually, this more appropriately is her piece of evidence because she said to you on Sunday, October 18th, which I called them today and they said they have to talk to you because your name is on the account and he wouldn't tell me anything. I made a payment to $50 today and will make another one on payday. Now, what were you paying for?
My half of the pictures that I received myself.
So you paid her for the pictures. We're not talking holiday pictures.
No, ma'am.
We're talking the original pictures.
Yes, ma'am.
The original pictures you paid her for.
Mm-hmm.
How much was your share?
$150.
Okay, so $150 you paid for the original pictures?
Yes, all the ones that I received.
Great. And then you say, okay, I'll yell at them and see if I can't add you to the account. Why would you add her to the account on October 18th unless you were giving her permission to take Christmas pictures?
Because I had not yet seen any of the bills, and I was under the assumption that it was still the original $800.
It was still the original $800. She hadn't taken the holiday pictures yet.
At that time, I had not seen a bill, which I have copies of, but when she had other pictures taken on October the 26th for $866 and October the 23rd for $279.
No, listen to me. You're not following me, Miss Krager, because on the 18th of October, which was before those holiday pictures were taken, I can't take the holiday pictures because they say I can't use your credit because I'm not on the account. And you wrote back to her and said, okay, I'll yell at them and see if I can add you to the account also. So I'm telling you right now, I believe her when she said you asked for holiday pictures. And what I think happened was when you got the holiday pictures back and you saw that he was in the holiday pictures, it really ticked you off, which I could understand.
These pictures that she had done were done prior to that text message.
No, you said that you authorized the $888 and the
$888, yes, ma'am.
The $888 and the $150.
But when that text message was sent, she had purchased over $4,000 worth of pictures that I had no idea.
Show me that was before October 18th. I thought you just told me it was October 26th, October 23rd.
Yeah, our pictures weren't taken until the end of October on the 26th.
I say originally the first three bills that came in, I just gave to her without opening.
I don't care. Either you're not following me or you're not following me purposely.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Does your mother-in-law see the children?
No, not anymore. Before Christmas, my dad had my kids for 2 days while her son was here. They called my work threatening me, telling me that they were going to get the cops involved because I was kidnapping my own children.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Nancy Krager says her estranged daughter-in-law, Beth Krager, and Beth's boyfriend, Nicholas Arbiso, owe for glamour shots of her grandchildren.
What I said to you was, were the pictures that you're complaining about taken before or after October 18th?
Before.
Give me the date.
The pictures were taken on after the 23rd of October.
Right.
And the 26th of
That's
October.
exactly what I said to you. So you said, okay, I'll yell at them and see if I can't add you to the account also. And you said that on October 18th. That was before the pictures were taken. Okay. Now, Now, you took holiday pictures.
Yes, ma'am.
How much were the holiday pictures that you took?
$866.
Well, I want to know how the bill, if the holiday pictures were $866, how the bill comes up to $5,000. You want to show me the bills?
Yes, ma'am, I can. I said I don't have the first three, but I do
I'm not
have...
interested in the first three. The only ones that I'm interested in is the ones that were taken with you and your daughter and your other daughter's children and her daughter. Listen, I want you to circle the dates that you are alleging that she took pictures after the 18th of October when you added her to the... I don't know that.
And that's the same on all
Thank
four.
you. Thanks, Bird.
It shows the date that the transaction took place.
Just a second. Did you go there on October 23rd?
No, ma'am.
You went there on only one date?
Yes, on the 26th.
Well, maybe that was your daughter that went there for $2,796.
No.
She only went one day.
No, my daughter doesn't even have that kind of money to even think about stepping into that place.
Well, what I'm telling you is I don't believe that they went on the 23rd and the 26th. Unless you have proof. She says she went with her children on one day to take holiday pictures, and that was for $866.
Yes. The 866, Your Honor, was on the 26th. That's when she went back and got more of the holiday pictures. The original picture date on the family photos for them was on the 23rd of October.
How do I know that?
By the bills.
No, it only says that somebody took pictures on the 23rd and somebody took pictures on the 26th. And it would be more logical to me that if you had a daughter and children and her family and you were looking to take family pictures of all of your children and grandchildren, your daughter would go with her family and your daughter-in-law would go with her children. So unless you have proof to me, she says she only went... May I see it? On the 26th, 866. Okay, fine.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Is that what you meant when you said I'll try to help you with this 866? Listen, don't play with me. You know, I'm an equal opportunity abuser.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Nancy Krager has accused her estranged daughter-in-law, Beth Krager, and Beth's boyfriend, Nicholas Arbizo, of owing for glamour shots of her grandchildren.
Now, when did you have a conversation with Mr. Arbizo about reimbursing you for some of the pictures that he was in, which of course you don't want and your daughter-in-law does want, right? Right.
Yes, Your Honor.
How much did you say you would contribute?
I didn't say I'd give her any price at all. In fact, when she was harassing me, I was trying to assist in being, you know, a peacemaker, saying, I'll try to help you.
Well, that's
but
what
there's
I'm
never any type of agreement.
Well, what did you mean help her? You mean help her leave her house, help her get into her car? You meant help her pay for it.
Instead of talking to her about everything.
Just a second. Is that what you meant when 66? Listen, don't play with me. You know, I'm an equal opportunity abuser. When you spoke to Miss Krager after she saw your pictures in the holiday pictures and she was annoyed, when you said to her, I'll help you, what did you mean?
Said I would help her in the cost, Your Honor.
Right. And how much of the cost?
There was never an agreement or a number.
Okay. How many pictures did they take, Miss Krager?
I think it was only like 10, but we got doubles of some, so I could send pictures of just the kids to their father. And then we got the free holiday cards with a certain purchase.
How much were the pictures with you, Mr. Arbizo, or you, Mr. Arbizo, and the two children?
We only got, as a family, we only got 2 or 3 taken.
Taken or ordered?
Ordered.
And how much were they? You don't know?
No, ma'am.
Now, Miss Krager, how many children do you have?
I have 3.
Did you have holiday pictures of your other 2 children?
No, I didn't, ma'am.
You mean you just asked her?
I did not ask her to take holiday pictures, Your Honor.
Yes, you did.
No. And I also have a screenshotted text message from Nick on how he was going to assist in paying for the photographs. And because he participated, he just didn't know how much it was. And he just knew that they were very expensive.
Okay. He says, that's what he said. He didn't know how much.
And he said he agreed to help. And on the other one, it says he would pay his half.
Oh, well, half of 866 is 433.
But the pictures on the 23rd, Your Honor, were also theirs.
No, they weren't.
Yes, ma'am.
Show me proof. I have no proof of that.
I don't either. either. I do have a copy of a check that I gave to Beth to help pay for some of it, and she told me, yes, I put that check towards the pictures.
May I see that?
Here's a copy of the check. And I also have screenshots of the fact that she said she did put that $150 towards the pictures when she did not.
My $150 that I paid.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Well, this is for $150 on the 1st of December. $150 is for?
I haven't seen Nancy since after Thanksgiving, really. She came over for Thanksgiving, and then we hadn't really spoken or talked to each other.
Do you remember getting this check?
No, ma'am.
Does your mother-in-law see the children?
No, not anymore. Not after before Christmas. She called me, and my dad had my kids for 2 days while her son was here. They called my work threatening me, kidnapping my own children. I haven't seen or talked to her until we came in today.
You filed for divorce when?
Early February, and then 2 weeks after I filed, I received a notice
February
from her.
Of this year?
Yes, ma'am.
Why did you wait so long?
Well, I did originally file in Virginia, and he was deployed so much that it just kind of like fell to the wayside, and so I moved down to Texas to be with my family, and I worked 2 jobs, and I finally saved up enough to file with a lawyer down here.
In Texas?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $433. We're finished. Thank you.
Excuse me, step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Battling her ex over the future of their children.
What was the reason the court gave primary custody to the father?
Because there's an open investigation.
Against who?
Me.
Next Judge Judy.
The bank started calling me in November.
I didn't spend all the money that she claims that I did.
And I didn't understand why, because I had just given Beth the bills. I hadn't even looked at them.
I never even received a bill like she claimed. She would tell me about it, and I would just call and make a payment.
And I was pretty much appalled when I did open the one in November and saw it to be $5,800 some dollars.
I honestly have no idea, you know, my sister-in-law.
And I don't think they really realized the amount that it was coming to.
So it was really unsettling that she tried to do that.
When they did order the pictures and purchase them with my credit card.
On my side, I kind of just want to part my ways with them.
I just hope it works out for the family. I hope we can get this bill taken care of.
And just have my own family and be happy.
And get back to the way it was.
A security deposit of $500.
A tenant who got off too easy?
There was actually a total of $5,619 worth of damage. All her garbage was there. We could not rent out the property.
Or a landlord squeezing her for every penny?
Was there a dog on the property?
He was here for an hour. She owes for the deposit for the dog.
She's not paying for a deposit for the dog.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. 23-year-old Gabrielle Humphrey is suing her former landlords, Vivian Del Toro and her husband, Andres, for the return of her security deposit.
Order. All rise.
You're welcome. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Ms. Humphrey, you lived in an apartment that was owned by the defendants for a year.
Yes, it was a home.
It was a home?
Yes.
And you moved out after the year, and it is your claim that they refused to return your security deposit.
Yes.
You say your security deposit was $1,500, and the Del Toros say that they only charged you $500 security deposit because you didn't have the other $1,000. Now, do you have the lease, the original lease?
Yes, I do, right
I'd
here.
like to take a look at it. Do you have your copy as well?
Absolutely. And I have receipts from the money orders that she prepared.
Well, there was security deposit of $500, and for an additional $1,000 for a pet deposit, for a total of $1,500. Did you have a pet?
No, we did not.
Yes, they did.
I have proof here showing paperwork of the dog, who he belongs to, who he's registered to, his birth certificates.
What dog?
The dog that they're claiming was in the property.
Well, my question to you, Ms. Humphrey, is, was there a dog on the property?
No, there was not.
Never?
He was here for an hour because my husband had to take him to his doctor's appointment. It's my husband's sister's dog. She was out of town and he had to take him to the doctor's appointment. I am stating to her that he was here for that day for his doctor's appointment.
May I see those texts?
Yes.
And I have texts as well, which reflects that there was a dog between April 27th and July.
Well, that still wouldn't mean that she gave you a $1,000 security deposit.
No, ma'am, she never gave a security deposit.
Just a second. Listen, Ms. Humphrey. Yes. You're going to show me text messages to establish that there was only a dog there once.
Yes.
For an hour.
Yes.
Well, then why would you pay a $1,000 security deposit for a pet?
Well,
if there was never a pet there.
In the lease, I believe it was $1,500 for the deposit. She charged me $500 for the first.
No, that's not what it says in the lease.
Okay.
It says the security deposit is $500 with an additional $1,000 for a pet deposit, for a total of $1,500.
Well,
but you say you didn't have a pet, so then why would you give her $1,500 if you never had a pet?
Well, what happened was she told me to give her half month's rent plus the rent that was due on the first. The rent is $1,000. The deposit was $500, but the $1,000 she wanted on the first, so it was a $1,500 deposit that we gave her on the first.
You have the evidence in front of you, which shows a $500 security deposit, and her first month's rent was $1,000 to move in.
So we gave her $1,500 September 1st.
And that
well,
was
that's okay. Your rent was $1,000, and you gave her $500 security deposit.
Okay.
I mean, okay. You can't have it as security deposit and rent.
Yes.
So you have a security deposit of $500?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now you're going to tell me why.
Well, there was actually a total of $5,619 worth of damage.
Show me pictures.
And the first...
Show me pictures.
Yes, ma'am. This is a text message from her on September 2nd and September 8th, which indicates that she was not out of the property. So these are the text messages, and these are...
She wants to show pictures of the property.
Of the property?
You said you kept a security deposit.
Yes.
In order to keep a security deposit, you have to show me what damages occurred to the property that allowed you to keep her security deposit.
She'll
not paying for a deposit for the dog. What's next?
She also owes for the fact that she was...
Pictures of the damage. Are you showing me pictures of the damage?
Yes, I'm actually showing you the fact that she moved out September 8th, and she's supposed to...
Are you not following what I'm saying? I want to see pictures of the damage.
The broken window, all that stuff.
Unless you are withdrawing your counterclaim.
No, we're not.
Well, then I asked you to show me pictures of the
sir.
damage. I have absolutely no idea what this is. It's a useless photograph. What is this showing me what?
That's damage is damaged, and it is also a mouse that we caught because of her filth that she actually had at the home. We had to clean it up.
Okay, not dealing with this. There's nothing here that looks egregious. Now, on what date did you move out of the house?
It was September 2nd. My grandmother had died that day, and my husband was in the hospital, so I was literally moving everything out myself. My father here, he's a witness, he made a phone call to Andy, and Andy gave us a verbal authorization that it was okay to get another day to move out because of the circumstances I was moving out on my own.
Did you have that conversation with her or her father?
No, ma'am.
What do you mean no?
I actually have text messages here from Vivian.
I'd like to see it.
I have text messages as well, Your Honor.
Care about the dog.
Also on the text message.
Did you mean that you had to leave the rest of the garbage outside on the side? Because you say the garage man came today already.
The garbage man, I'm sorry.
You meant the garbage man
Yes.
came. So we will leave it on the side of the house and come back and put it out for the garbage man on
Yes.
Tuesday.
Yes.
She writes back, please take it with you. If you canceled all the utilities, there will be no service.
We're not getting charged for garbage. It was just electricity and heat.
I would like to see your text.
Her garbage was there. We could not rent out the property until the 8th. She was there until September 2nd physically, which is, can I hand this to the judge?
No, not necessary.
Okay.
Not necessary. I absolutely understand that she was there until the 2nd. I do not believe him that they did not have a conversation, that she explained that her husband was in the hospital and there was a death in the family, and he said, okay. I don't believe him. I believe that he did, in fact, have that conversation and gave her authorization to stay until the 2nd. The fact that the garbage was on the side of the house, and she thoroughly explained to you that she was going to come back and put it in the front of the house when the garbage would come and take it, I think you are being totally unreasonable. And she's entitled to have $500 security deposit back. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $500. Your counterclaim's dismissed. We're finished.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
They lied. We tried to work with them.
I'm glad that she was able to see past what was really going on.
We tried to give them a little bit of a break with the $500.
It really hurt us because we were close with them. My father did work with them.
We could not put a new tenant in there, so they really owe us for rent.
We consider them to be family friends.
And that is what is on their lease.
So I'm glad the judge saw also.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Keltz versus Morgan. Step forward.
Nicole Keltz is suing her ex-husband, Daniel Morgan, for the return of personal...
You and Mr. Morgan read here in your complaint in your parents' house, and you were asked to leave your parents' house. Is that correct?
Right. My father and I had an argument.
Whatever. You were asked to leave your parents' house. You had
Right.
no place to go. Do you have a job?
No, ma'am.
For them?
Till over last summer, like June, around June.
Last year?
Yes.
Well, Mr. Morgan suffered a stroke.
Yes, ma'am.
And you didn't have a place to live. So, despite the fact that you had been divorced for 20 years, he allowed you to come into the house,
Right.
and you ran errands for him and lived in the house. I assume you didn't live as a couple, is that right?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Do you have children together?
Yes, we do. We have an 18-year-old and a 22-year-old sons.
And where do they live?
They live with my parents.
Have they always lived with your parents?
No, not always.
For how long have they lived with your parents?
About...
How long have they lived with our parents?
I've had them since they was 14.
Until they were 14?
Yeah.
Not with her. She
Not
was
with her.
gone.
Yes, ma'am.
So after they...
With me.
Now, it is your claim that after a period of time, Mr. Morgan locked you out of the house and kept some of your property.
That's right.
First, what property did you move in with?
I had everything that...
What's everything? You lived with your parents in their house?
My clothing.
Your clothing?
Cookware. I had a storage building that had all my belongings in. Life.
Okay, very good.
Yes.
Now, on what date did you leave Mr. Morgan's house?
February 7th.
Tell me under what circumstances you left the house.
I had been that day to run errands for him. I bought the groceries. I paid the bills. I came home. I put the groceries away. My boyfriend was there visiting with me. We went upstairs. Mr. Morgan proceeded to start cussing at me and telling me off, that I was stealing his money, stealing his pills, just cussing.
What happened?
I said, I need a break from this. Me and my parents had made up at the time. So I went down there and I said, I'm going away for a couple of days just to take a break. And I had planned to return. While I was down there, I fell and I got an infection in my leg and I was unable to return. That's why I couldn't go back around him, because I was scared to get him sick. In the meantime, when I went back, he had moved another girl in, and when I went up there to get my stuff, he locked the door in my face and would not let me get in to get my stuff.
So where is her stuff?
She took it with her when she left.
What did she take with her?
Clothes, TV, blender.
Just a second. Stand up. Your last name is?
Jackson.
Mr. Jackson, you were there when they had this argument?
Yes.
And how did you get there?
I rode with my girlfriend, with Nicole.
In a what? What kind of car?
Mitsubishi 3000 GT.
I didn't ask you anything.
Yeah.
I was asking him.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a 3000 GT.
Large enough for the two of you?
Yeah.
And clothes?
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Shh.
I'm sorry.
And when you left, where did you go?
We went where I was staying at.
And where were you staying at?
Currently, I was staying at my baby mama's house.
You were staying at the mother of your child's house?
Yes.
Now, you had a conversation with her in the car.
Right.
To call him, would he tell you that he came and picked up all of her stuff?
Yeah.
Is that right?
No. I got my TV, that's it.
What's... Oh! So, just a second. There you go.
And later today...
Okay, I like your version better.
Well, that's nice. And the dean of my former law school would thank you for that. They trained me well. I'm sure he's been staying up nights to have your approval.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Nicole Keltz says ex-husband Daniel Morgan is withholding her personal belongings.
Now, I want you to tell me what the conversation was.
Basically telling her...
Not basically.
Well, I would tell her, she needs to get out of there.
And?
And to get out of there.
And what did she say?
She said she was taking a few days. She was going to her parents' house, and she was going to talk to them about it and her stuff anyway.
What did you take?
I had my clothes.
You had your clothes there?
No, I had my clothes with me at the time.
Where?
In her car.
What were your clothes doing in her car?
Because I had them with me.
Why?
It's a long story. It's an overnight bag.
Overnight bag.
Sorry. You had an overnight bag. Had you spent the night?
Yeah, we spent the night there.
At his house?
Yeah.
I thought you were living with your baby's mother.
I was staying there, yes. But that night, when all this happened, the argument between them, when he was fussing, I was staying with her that night with them.
And you came prepared to do that with an overnight bag?
Yeah.
Yeah, you sit down.
We brought the groceries in that night.
She'd actually showed up a few days later with her oldest son and with a truck and got the
did
rest
she?
of it. Yes, ma'am.
Her oldest son's name is what?
Daniel.
Do you get along with him?
Yeah.
How long have you known him?
It's his whole life. He's my oldest son.
Does he have a cell phone?
Yeah.
If I were to call him, would he tell you that he came and picked up all of her stuff?
Yeah.
No.
What's his cell phone
Mine.
number?
I got my TV, that's it.
What's... Oh! So, just a second. There you go.
I
So
was in my
just-
car,
just a
actually.
second. What?
I was in my car. I wasn't in a truck.
Just a second. So, you did go back
And
after
got-
you...
No, I didn't. I paid his bills and took care of his business for him.
I thought I'd
Been, and he always will be.
I mean, that's been 20 years ago. Get over it, right?
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Tong versus Ramirez. Step forward.
22-year-old William Tong is suing David Ramirez for the return of money he paid for a Ducati motorcycle.
This has something to do with a motorcycle?
Correct.
Well, first, tell me where the motorcycle is now.
It's in Houston, ma'am.
It's in Houston.
Or Dallas.
What is it doing there?
It was sold to somebody, and they bought it, and they
Who
own
sold it?
I did.
When did you sell it?
About a year ago, maybe. Less than a year ago.
Well, let's take a moment to think. What month and year did you sell it to somebody?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I was going to let him have it before he made full payments, but there was milestones to meet. There's liability, there's insurance, it's an expensive bike, it's paid for cash. So I had milestones.
And?
They were not met.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
22-year-old William Tong is suing David Ramirez for the return of money he paid for a...
His first name is Mova. I sold it for $14,000.
And when did you purchase this same bike, Mr. Tong?
14.
But never physically took possession of it?
I took it for a test drive, and once I got to halfway payments, that's when I could take the keys.
Well, you didn't make halfway payments
Right.
because you bought it for $14,000. That's what I saw in your complaint, and you paid $3,300 for it, correct?
Correct.
And Mr. Ramirez agreed to take payments on the bike, but was not giving you possession of it until you completed the payments. Is that...
I was going to let him have it before he made full payments, but yes, to a certain...
So you
There's
wanted half.
milestones. There was milestones to meet. There's liability, there's insurance, it's an expensive bike, it's paid for cash. So I had milestones.
And?
They were not met.
Okay. So let me ask you this. There came a time at some point when you got frustrated with Mr. Tong, who was not making the payments, as he had promised he would. That be a
No,
fair
ma'am.
statement?
Somebody came up with $14,000. And the reason I needed to sell this bike, which was my pride and joy, was because I needed money.
Well, that doesn't answer my question, Mr. Ramirez. Was Mr. Tong living up to the terms of his contract with
No.
you? Well, that's what I'm asking you. Because that's what you wrote in your answer, that he wasn't living up to the terms of his contract.
But I wasn't frustrated.
Oh, so the word, I'm going to take out the word frustrated.
Thank you, ma'am.
So you were just anxious for the full purchase price. So you sold it to Mr. Tong for $14,000, and he paid you $3,300. Is that correct?
I never sold it to him. I agreed to take payments.
No. Listen to me. Once you agreed on the sale price and he started to make payments to you, that is a consummated contract. Now, if he breaches that contract by not making payments, then you have recourse. But you did sell him the bike and create a contract.
Okay,
If
I like your version better.
Well, that's nice. And the dean of my former law school would thank you for that. They trained me well. I'm sure he's been staying up nights to have your approval.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay, so the next time you sold the bike for what you had wanted, $14,000.
Yes, ma'am.
So now you're in a pretty good place because you got Mova's $14,000 and Mr. Tong's $3,300. So you really got a lot more than the bike was worth in your pocket.
No, ma'am, it's paying bills because that $3,300 came at a span of maybe 5-6 months. There's no lump $3,300.
It doesn't make any difference. You got $17,000, $14,000 that you sold it to him for $14,000. According to you, you sold it to Mova for $14,000. Am I getting it right?
You're absolutely getting
Judgment
it right.
for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,300. We're finished.
You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You know, you buy a piece of property, you don't make the payments.
I loved it, you know, exactly what I came for.
They take your property, they don't give you your money back.
All the paperwork and just going back and forth, having to find this guy.
I agreed to a certain amount of money at a certain amount of time, and that was never reached.
Track him down and get the money was just way too much.
Is it fair to me to wait for 2 years for something? I mean, go to Ducati and see if they'll do that.
A partial transaction.
She gave you $1,000.
Yes.
And she didn't give you the remainder of the money.
Correct, Your Honor.
Then another headache for this businessman.
You also gave him a bad check that bounced.
That's correct.
Now, she says she was wrong about it all.
I realized I did not owe him actually the money.
I want you to tell me why you don't think that you owe him the money.
Because I paid him $1,500 in cash.
You're a fibber.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Former client, Angel Robertson, for non-payment of services rendered, and unpaid tax and bank fees.
Order. All rise.
Yeah, it's case number 25 on the calendar, the matter of Salome versus Robertson.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Gentlemen, have a seat, please.
Mr. Salome, tell me about your business. What kind of business are you in, sir?
I do graphics and printing and signage for companies.
And how long have you done that?
For the past 3 years.
Do you operate out of your home?
Mostly, I do have offices across Dallas.
Okay. Now, you entered into a contract with Miss Robertson to create a sign for her.
Yes.
What kind of a sign?
It was a 4x8 aluminum sign with 3-color vinyl graphics on it, and there were 3 of them, 8 by 4 feet.
3 of the same signs?
No, one was a 2-sign span to make a 4x16-foot sign for the long side of the building. Front side of the building, there was one 4x8.
And what did the sign read?
It read about her bait shop. May I refer?
Yes. Do you have a photo of it?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to take a look at it.
That's an actual render. These are that shows manufacturing installation.
Oh, they're lovely. Okay. And Miss Robertson agreed on
$1,800.
That's incorrect, Your Honor.
How much did you agree on?
Our original agreement was $1,500.
Well, do either of you have anything in writing to...
No, we do not, because there was no actual paper.
Just a second. If you've been in the business for 3 years, isn't it a good idea to have a contract, sir?
Yes, it is. The reason we did not is because we met through a mutual friend, and it was done at night and kind of on the fly.
What do you mean it was done at night and on the fly?
It was done at night. It wasn't done during business hours, and it was done in a friendly manner.
Okay, and you say that your agreement was that you would make these signs for $1,800?
Yes.
And she gave you $1,000?
Yes.
And she didn't give you the remainder of the money?
Correct.
And that's why we're here?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and now, whether it's $800 or $500, Ms. Robertson, I want you to explain to me, because he's suing for more, because you also gave him a bad check that bounced.
That's right.
And he had fees, etc., that were attached to that bad check. Do you have a copy of that check, sir?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to take a look at it.
Absolutely.
Well, this check is for $825, and it's signed by you.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, why would you give him $825 if you only owe him $500?
Well, because and like I said, we didn't have any kind of, I had a lot going on. Our bait shop had flooded 3 times.
Miss Robertson, you're not following what I'm saying. You interrupted him when he said it was $1,800, and you said that's not true. It was $1,500. So my question to you is a simple one. You hopped in there right away and said, no, he's wrong. It was for $500, and this check is for $800.
Yes, ma'am, because I was in the hospital when I wrote him that check with my son who had a skull fracture from an ATV accident, and I had a lot going on, and I just assumed I don't keep very good records because I had a lot going on, and that he was telling me the truth with what I owed him, and I wrote him a check. Since being
just a second, the check bounced.
That's correct.
Now you want to give me a defense that you have? What's the defense that you have to?
Yes, ma'am. I had talked to him on the phone. When I met him, I had just left Children's in Dallas with my son from the hospital.
Listen to me. That's another show.
Okay.
Your children.
I asked
Dallas,
him that day to hold the check from me, and he was supposed to hold it until, because I had unforeseen medical expenses due to my son being in the hospital.
So then you acknowledge that you owe him the money.
It wasn't until actually he served me papers, because me and his girlfriend had a falling out for the money, that I realized that I did not owe him actually the money.
Well, I want you to tell me why you don't...
Cash, $1,000, which he acknowledges that I paid him, and $500 that I had forgotten about during the transition of the bait shop money.
You're a fibber. Because if you forgot about it in the transition, you also forgot about it between the time you swore to your answer here, where you didn't put anything about $1,500, and just now. And you make them up like this. Now, if your answer had said, the contract was for $1,500, I paid him the $1,500, I paid him in cash, one would have said that. You want to point out someplace in your answer where you say you've paid him in full? You give me a whole lot of excuses there. Just show me.
That I don't owe him any money.
No. Paid him.
Yes, ma'am, because after the check, he had called me. He has some property of mine from my business.
Just a second. Now you're talking property. You just told me that you paid him in cash.
Yes.
$1,500. Show me where it says that in your answer.
It doesn't.
Right, it doesn't. So, first, you had a sick child that you had to pay bills for, which is why the check bounced. Now you tell me that he has some property of yours. Do you have property of hers?
I do have some magnets and some bags in my trunk of my car back in Texas, absolutely.
Great. Magnets and bags. What is that?
They're to be printed on. The bags are like minnow bags, and the magnets are for like bumper stickers or bumper magnets.
So you're supposed to do those for...
Receiving payment, I stopped production.
And did she furnish you with the materials?
Yes.
You give them back to her?
Absolutely.
Great. Now, do you remember what the bank charged you for her bad check?
I believe it was $25.
Oh, well, maybe that's where we got the $825 from.
Bingo.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $825. We're done. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Well, I feel it was fair, and justice was done, and...
I don't feel like that I owe him the money, but...
Case is closed. Business is business.
I understand that, you know, sometimes it works out that way.
Just need to be a little more truthful with me and tell me what was actually going on.
But it'll be okay.
Instead of continuing to say she was going to pay me and not pay me.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Day versus Otello. Step forward.
Carol Day is suing her house painter, J.P. Daniel Otello, for an unpaid loan to purchase painting equipment.
Miss Day, you claim that the defendant, who was just a friend of yours, owes you for money that you loaned to him.
That's correct.
Mr. Otello says that there was never a discussion of a loan. He was supposed to do some barter work instead of paying you back in cash. His defense is that when your boyfriend found out that you had given him money, this friendship gift became a loan, and now you want it back in cash. Is that your defense, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, Miss, how did you find him?
The realtor that I was working with gave me his
recommended
name.
him?
Yes, ma'am.
You hadn't met him before. So he painted your house?
That's correct.
Okay. At some point after your house was completed, I want you to tell me when you were approached by Mr. Otello about a loan.
I believe it was July the 30th of 2015. We had a phone conversation and several texts about the fact that he was hoping to get ahead and maybe get to the point where he could buy a house. And he was trying to, you know, get up money, and that he had an opportunity to do a fairly large job, be the contractor on the job. And he was hoping to be able to buy a sprayer that was going to make the work much easier, much faster, and also give it a better quality.
He was explaining that to you?
Yes, ma'am.
On the phone?
Yes, ma'am.
And?
And so I told him, I said, well, Danny, you know, what do you think? You think, you know, if you had this $1,500 to buy this sprayer, that you could, you know, get this job and that it would all be great for you? And he said, absolutely. And he says, would you loan it to me? And I said, well, you know what? Let me think about it. And before the day was over, I texted him back, and I said, I'll do it.
May I see the text? Do you have the texts?
I don't.
Did you give him a check or cash?
I actually wrote a check to cash and got it cashed at the bank where I bank.
Why wouldn't you give him a check?
I don't know.
No, that's an interesting question. Why would you not give him a check? Did you pay him by check when he painted your house?
Mm-mm. No, ma'am.
He has his own business, so why wouldn't you give him a check to memorialize that?
Big deal for me.
Okay. Now, when did he paint this cabinet for you?
It was after July the 31st, which was when I gave him the cash to buy the sprayer.
And what did you tell him when he did that work for you about the $1,500?
Well, I told him, I said, you know, Danny, you owe me some money. You know this. We talked about him making payments. It was going to be between $200 and $300 a month. He was going to have me paid back by the end of January 2016. I told him, I said, if you're interested, I said, I would love to get this curio painted. And it's an inside the curio, outside the curio, the whole 9 yards. It's a lighted glass curio. I don't feel that I can do it. If you would like to do that, we can do this, and I'll take some money off what you owe me.
How much?
I figured about $200. We never actually discussed an exact amount, but I figure, you know, he's in the business of painting. I know what he charged to paint the house, so I knew it was going to be about $200.
Well, he's a house painter. There's a difference between being a house painter and someone who can paint a curio.
This is true.
How did he do?
He did pretty good, I thought. Much better than I would have done.
Okay, let me hear your version, Mr. Otello.
Completed her house, and as this was going on, as she lent me the money, I took care of the curio cabinet for her, went and picked it up, took it back to her house. As time started going on, I was getting texts. I was getting phone calls. There was times where the flirting, the propositioning, and stuff like that was going on. I've been married 12 and a half years. I'm a married man. When her husband...
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today...
Because she had money.
Right. She also had a gambling addiction and a pill addiction.
When did you find out she had a gambling addiction?
It was towards the end she admitted that she had a gambling addiction.
Yeah, no, that's not true.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Carol Day says her house painter, J.P. Daniel Otello, owes for a loan to buy painting equipment.
Would you tell me, please, about the $1,500?
She loaned me the money to buy the sprayer.
Terrific. No, we're done.
We're
done. You just answered my question. She loaned you the money to buy the sprayer. And she knocked off $200 for painting her curio cabinet, which means you still owe her $1,300.
Your Honor.
What?
He also brought me $100, a $100 bill one day to the store also as a part payment.
Oh, so you only owe her $1,200. Great, we're done. Thank you. Judgment for the plaintiff.
How is that excused? You may step in.
Well, he was a very hard worker.
I wish the best for her and her husband, and
I felt, you know, this was going to be okay. Trying to help him.
paying her back her money.
Yeah, he took me.
Not to borrow no more money.
Never mix business and pleasure.
And now, the next case. 22-year-old Josh Flavin is suing his ex-girlfriend, 21-year-old Brianna Hendrickson, for loans to pay horse expenses, rent, and utility bills.
Mr. Flavin, how long were you and the defendant a couple before you decided to move in with each other?
A month.
Where had you lived prior to that?
With my mother.
Did you sign the lease?
I did.
Did she?
She did.
And what was the arrangement with regard to payment of rent?
We split everything halves.
Did she pay?
She did.
Until when?
Well, actually, in January, she asked me, would you mind paying for $500 of the rent, and I'll pay the rest, and then I will pay next month's rent, $500, and you pay the rest. And I said, yeah.
Why?
Because I'm young and dumb.
No, why did she say she needed you to pay the rent?
She was in financial...
What was wrong?
I don't recall any financial problems that I had. I paid my share of the rent.
So as far as you're concerned, you paid all of your rent?
Yes.
The share of your
Yes,
rent
ma'am.
for all the time that you lived there?
Yes, ma'am.
I disagree. I pulled money out January 31st for $500.
So what?
It's for the rent that she owed me in April. I paid the full amount, and she still owes me for her half.
I have a couple of questions for you, Mr. Flavin. When you were together in that apartment, were you sharing the same room?
We were. Right.
Is what you're telling me, Mr. Flavin, that she says she didn't have any financial problems, but is what you're telling me that she had financial problems?
Right. She will.
What kind of financial problems did she have?
She had 3 horses that she was taking care of.
Right.
I actually helped her out paying for horse feed.
And what else?
Did
she have a job?
She did. She got almost the same amount as my brother, which is, she made a lot of money, which more than me, and I had no financial troubles. but she had a lot of expenses, were horses.
Well, why didn't you tell her? I can't afford to pay your bills. You have horses. You have to get rid of the horses. Or get rid of me.
Well, that was her side business. She had bought horses and got rid of, like, sold them for profit.
So she had money.
Right. She also had a gambling addiction and a pill addiction.
Just a second. When did you find out she had a gambling addiction?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You have something in writing from her that she owes you money?
I actually have a voice recording.
I would love to hear it.
You're going to pay me my $900. No, I don't owe you that. I owe you $8-something.
What's the $800 for?
I'm not sure. I don't...
You're not sure?
No.
You're not sure of a lot of things.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
22-year-old Josh Flavin is suing his ex-girlfriend, 21-year-old Brianna Hendrickson, for low utility bills.
When did you find out she had a gambling addiction?
It was towards the end she admitted that she had a gambling addiction.
What kind of gambling?
Well, she would go to the casino and spend all her money.
That's not true. I had a gambling addiction before I dated Josh, not while I was dating Josh. I was over it then. They were going to Las Vegas and had asked me, you know, to come with, and I didn't want to go, but it was just because of my previous...
Well, Ms. Hendrickson, but my problem with what you're saying, you know, first I have very little sympathy for somebody who says, you know, while we're together, we're sharing the same bed, you were short on money, he advanced you money, you paid him back. I really don't think that courts should be involved with this kind of thing. Two people want to live together and play house, and you know that there are no courts for living together playing house, and you do so at your own peril. You see, my problem with you, Miss Hendrickson, is you say in your answer, when Josh was giving me money, he always said he was happy to help because we were in love, and that's what you do when you love someone. You do what you can to help them.
Yes, ma'am. He did give me money.
Well, that's what I want to hear about, Miss Hendrickson. Not that you paid all your rent, you paid all your bills, you never took any money from him. What did he give you money for?
Other things, I'm not exactly sure.
Well, I want you to start thinking.
Okay, possibly.
No, don't make it up. Don't. Possibly. I want you to start thinking.
My horses. He did help me with money.
Your horses. How many times did he help you with your horses?
I'm not exactly sure.
Well, if you're not sure, I'm going to ask him. No. That's why I don't bother with these cases.
Right.
Is that your mother?
She is.
That's why I don't bother with these cases. Because I don't bother with numerous times. Because when people have a contract to repay money, they say, on November 12th, I loaned Miss Hendrickson, even though we were in a living together situation, $500 for her horses. Then again, on December 12th, 2012, I loaned her $300 for horses. I don't hear, how many times did you loan her money for the horses? I don't know, numerous times. How do you expect court, put your hand down, how do you expect courts to make heads or tails of that?
I paid her 4 times for the horses. I helped her out, actually 5 times if you include the horse payment.
The horse payment?
Right. She did not have...
Perfect. Tell me when you helped her out with the horses first time and how much?
January 12th.
How much?
$25.58.
What else?
And January 23rd, I paid $200 for part of a horse payment.
Tell me about the horse payment.
She came up to me and said, there's this horse. I really like him. I've known him for I don't know how many years. I've always wanted him. I don't have enough money for the first payment. Would you mind helping me out and paying the $200 so I can get him, and I will pay you back the $200.
Did you buy that horse?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Where is the horse now?
I sold him.
You sold for how much?
$3,500.
Did you give him back his $200?
No, ma'am.
January 24th, for horse feed, it was $25.58.
Do you know that I went to 10 years postgraduate school?
I did not know that.
Give me something that has at least 2 zeros at the end of it.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay, what else?
Bills. Half the bill she did not pay me.
You have a contract with her? You have something in writing from her that she owes you money?
I actually have a voice recording.
I would love to hear it.
Okay.
I want all ties to be cut. Like, that money is tying us. I just want that money, what you owe me, to be gone.
Yeah, there's more than one tie, though. That money is just one tie.
So when...
Living together is another tie. So I will cut all the ties, if that's what you want.
No.
I will pay you back the money.
You're going to pay me my $900.
No, I don't owe you that. I owe you $8-something.
Okay.
What's the $800 for?
I'm not sure. I don't...
You're not sure?
No.
You're not sure of a lot of things?
I guess not.
I guess not. Anything else you want to tell me, Mr. Flavin?
Well, the $800 was for the bills, the horse.
Listen to me. I'm not listening to $25.32 for horse feed, $32.25 for horse feed, $23.35 for horse feed, a garbage bill, a water bill. I don't care. two people want to live together and commingle their money, you're not supposed to annoy the courts.
Right.
We have enough to be annoyed with without becoming arbitrators of kids who live together with benefits. She acknowledges in that voicemail she owes you $800. That's what she acknowledged. The fact that she at this point is suffering from amnesia because she doesn't understand for what she owes you the $800, she acknowledged she owed you $800.
Right.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the matter of $800.
Well,
that's all.
I
Bye.
have rent, too.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You're in a relationship, and what you do for someone is,
I'm just glad it's over with.
you know, you pay them, you give them money.
I'm glad she's not in my life anymore.
It's not a loan or anything like that.
She lied, she cheated.
I don't ever recall cheating on him.
And towards the end of the relationship, it was just horrible.
I'm not sure what he means by that.
Don't get involved with crazy people.
How much did you pay for the car?
$1,150.
A mechanic flipping vehicles for profit.
You sold the car 2 months later for how much?
$4,950, Your Honor.
4 times what you paid for it.
But this buyer
is.
The issue is that it's impossible to license the car in Wisconsin, so I have a car that I have almost $4,000 in at this point, and I cannot use it.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. Vernon Jaski is suing Christopher Sirakis for selling him a car he wasn't able to register.
Order. All rise. This is case number 450 on the calendar in the matter of Jaski versus Sirakis. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated, ma'am. Have a seat, please.
Thanks, Bert.
You're welcome, Judge.
Relatively easy case. Mr. Jaski, you purchased a used car from the defendant.
Yes.
And your claim is that you're unable to use it.
That's right.
And you want your money back.
Yes.
And you do understand that under ordinary circumstances, you buy a used car, and no matter what the promises are that someone makes to you, that, you know, my grandmother just drove it to the Piggly Wiggly every other week, and it only was kept in a garage, and we polished it, and it's perfect. That's all what we call puffing. You understand that?
Yes, I do.
Great. But you say that there's more to this than that. So I have a couple of questions to ask Mr. Sirakis.
Actually own my own auto repair business.
Is that the way you earn a living? You own an auto repair business.
Yes, Your Honor.
How many people do you have working for you?
I am a sole proprietor. I am the owner, and I do all the work myself.
And is that the only way you make a living?
I also am a rapper/rap producer.
Who do you live with?
Who do I live with?
Why do you keep repeating my questions?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm hard of hearing, Your Honor.
And you're a rap producer?
Yes, Your Honor.
Who do you live with?
My girlfriend, Kristen.
What does she do?
She is unemployed currently.
The car that you sold to Mr. Jaski, on what date did you purchase it?
I purchased it a couple months before I sold it. I'm not sure on exact date I purchased it.
And what month did you sell it to Mr. Jaski?
I sold it in October 9th to be exact.
So that you bought the car in August?
July or August, I believe.
Clearly you didn't buy it for your own personal use.
Yes, I bought it.
Let's start out with, who did you buy it from?
I bought it from a dealership.
And did you buy it to use it for yourself?
Yes, Your Honor.
How much did you pay for it?
I paid
All of these things I'm going to ask you for proof of, so let's make certain you understand that. How much did you pay for the car?
I paid $1,150.
Did you get a title to
Yes,
the
Your
car?
Honor.
You sold the car 2 months later.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you had advertised the car.
Yes, Your Honor.
You had advertised the car for how much?
$4,950, Your Honor.
So 4 times what you paid for it.
Yes, Your Honor.
Had you done a lot of work on the car?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, you did a lot of work on the car because the car had been in a wreck.
Yes, Your Honor.
Describe the condition of the car when you got it.
When I purchased the car, it had damage to the passenger front panels, which included minor damage to the fender and the passenger headlight area, as well as the bumper, as well as the tire was flat.
Any mechanical issues with the car?
No.
So it was all cosmetic?
Yes, Your Honor. Windshield,
body damage.
Is this car what is referred to as a salvaged car?
Yes, Your Honor, it has a salvage title.
Is that the title that you turned over to Mr. Jaski?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have a copy of that title?
I have a copy.
I'd like to see it. Well, it clearly says it was a salvaged car.
Absolutely.
So you were on notice that it was a salvaged car. Well, now you tell me what your issue is.
The issue is that it's impossible to license the car in Wisconsin. I took the title that I got from Chris to the motor vehicle, and the agent took the title and went on his computer, and the first words out of his mouth is, "You cannot license this car in the state of Wisconsin." And I said, previous owner had a license plate on it. I drove the car with a license plate on it at his house, took his girlfriend to work, actually, as part of my road test. And he said, well, if he had a license on it, it was not a legal license, and you cannot license the car. So I have a car that I have almost $4,000 in at this point, and I cannot use it.
I'm listening.
Yes, Your Honor. I was contacted by the plaintiff.
Just a second. You both live in Wisconsin?
Yes, Your Honor.
Great. Can you title this car in Wisconsin?
Yes, it can be titled in Wisconsin.
Yes. Great. If it can be titled in Wisconsin, you title it in Wisconsin.
Yes, Your Honor.
Great. You title it. Why in the world would he title it?
Yes, Your Honor. When you purchase a car, you receive a title.
Right. He had the title. It said salvaged vehicle, but it had license plates on it.
Yes.
No,
because he drove your girlfriend to work.
Yes, it did.
He drove your girlfriend to work, and he didn't drive it without license plates, so it had license plates on it. So...
Sorry, Mr. Jaschke, he was fully aware...
Just a second, don't tell me what he was aware of. I asked you a question. Where did the license plates come from?
The license plate was actually not for the car, and I explained to him that he was aware that it was a salvage title.
No. Listen to me. He's on notice that it's a salvaged title.
Yes, Your Honor. It is not valid to register a plate to that car until it goes through the salvage inspection, which is a safety inspection.
Were you advised of that?
I was not advised of that, and I have a list of what's required in order to do a salvage inspection.
Oh, I'd like to see it.
And none of that information did I get from...
Well, you don't have to. Listen to me. You don't have to get that information from Mr. Jaski.
All right.
You don't have to get that information from him. The answer is you can have this car registered in Wisconsin, but it has to go through a series of inspections.
If it could be inspected, it could be licensed.
And you were on notice that it's a salvaged vehicle.
Yes, but salvage vehicles also are commonly sold in the marketplace, having been inspected, and
well,
they still...
I don't know. Those are questions that you ask, not after you have the car.
Because he had a plate on the... Excuse me.
That doesn't matter. Did you use parts from any other vehicle in restoring this car?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Were the airbags deployed?
No, Your Honor.
Well, this doesn't sound like it's too difficult, Mr. Jaski. Yeah, but you have.
I do.
You have to have photographs of the unrepaired vehicle.
That, Your Honor, is the problem.
Do you have the photographs?
Yes, Your Honor. I was never asked for them.
Just a minute. My question is, do you have the photographs of the unrepaired vehicle?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. They're in a format that can easily be transferred to the plaintiff?
Yes, Your Honor.
Fine. A bill of sale or receipts for all major parts used in the repair that you're prepared to give him because you did the work yourself.
Yes, Your Honor. It states on there that if you purchased any parts over $500, which I did not.
But then you're prepared to give him a statement that you did not purchase any parts over $500.
Yes, Your Honor. I made it all clear to Mr. Jaschke when he came to purchase the car, and he negotiated the price based on the fact that it still needed a windshield.
All I'm asking you is, sir, you're prepared to present him with the photographs, which you say you have.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you are prepared to give him a notarized statement that you did not spend any more than $500 on any individual part.
Yes, Your Honor.
Good. And that there were no airbag. You have airbags in the car.
There are.
They were not deployed. And a four-wheel alignment must be completed, which is not a big deal. You can have that done. An $84 inspection fee, 2 stamps, and inspection locations. That doesn't sound very difficult, Mr. Jaski.
May I say something, Your Honor?
Sure.
I had tried on 5 occasions to get a response from Chris with no response of any kind. I asked for help with this, and he did not respond. I have the dates and the hour in which I did that.
Well, where are the photographs?
I have them on file. Mr. Jaschke, he never asked me for any documents pertaining to the car. He never contacted me after the sale.
I'm just asking you, you have the photographs.
Yes, Your Honor.
When you started to work on the car.
Yes, Your Honor. I wasn't required or asked for them.
But you are prepared to furnish them.
Yes,
Fine. And you're prepared to furnish him with a notarized statement that you didn't spend more than $500 on any part.
Yes, Your Honor.
Very good. We'll put that in an order, sir. That being the case, you have no case.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Your Honor, I don't have a problem with the salvage title. I have a problem with the inability to be able to drive my car that I bought.
Why can't you drive it?
Because I cannot get the car inspected because I do not have the proper information.
Well, now you're going to get the proper information.
And later today,
I called her crying in hysterics because I needed help.
So why did you give me this nonsense about a campaign contribution for your husband? No, you wouldn't have been crying about that.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Vernon Jaschke says Christopher Sirakis sold him a car he can't register. Christopher is countersuing for vehicle storage fees and lost wages.
Now, you bought a car, you were on notice that it was a salvage car. If you didn't know what a salvage car meant, it was your responsibility to find out what a salvage car meant, and your responsibility to take whatever steps necessary with a salvage title to register your car. And he says you never had any contact with him, asked him for any photographs, asked him for any statement. But I will put that in an order. He will take care of it.
Dates and times, Your Honor, that I called him for this information?
I'm telling you now. I'm telling you, you don't have a case. You don't have a case anyway, because if he gave you a title that didn't indicate that it was a salvage title, absolutely, I would have an issue with him. But you're on notice that it's a salvaged car. Before, I bought a car that said titled in salvage title, previously titled in Illinois.
And Your Honor, I don't have a problem with the salvage title. I have a problem with the inability to be able to drive my car that I bought.
Why can't you drive it?
Because I cannot get the car inspected.
Get the proper information. Now he's giving you the proper information.
I have a very small amount of confidence that he will do what he said. I have records
Even if he doesn't, you still don't have a case. Even if he doesn't, you still don't have a case. You bought a car with a salvage title, and it was your responsibility as a buyer. That's what we call caveat emptor. Let the buyer beware. Okay? But in your case, you were notified that it was a salvage title, and you have to take whatever steps are necessary to figure it out. Now, I will prepare an order. I expect you to follow it, which are two things. You have photographs of the car before it was fixed. You are telling me that you have those.
Yes, Your Honor.
Fine. And you're prepared to give him a statement that you did not spend more than $500 on any part.
Yes, Your Honor.
Great. Good. We're done. Thank you.
Pardons are excused. You may step out.
I did ask for help on 3 different occasions.
I believe her ruling was an excellent ruling.
I have the times at which I called and got no response.
He never contacted me asking for any documents.
I didn't have a problem with the salvage aspect. I have a problem with not being able to license the car.
I think he's just trying to get something for nothing.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Camelo versus Davis. Step forward.
Kimberly Camelo is suing her former friends, Gina and Stephen Davis, for an unpaid loan to help them
complaint very carefully. And in your complaint, you outline a loan that you allege to Miss Davis.
Yes.
Nowhere in your complaint do you state that you ever had an agreement with Mr. Davis.
We had an agreement.
No. Go back.
Okay.
Did you have an agreement with Mr. Davis?
I had an agreement with Mrs. Davis.
Then why are you suing Mr. Davis?
Because the documentation that they gave me has both of their names on it. They both promised to pay it back.
What documentation?
I can show you.
Oh, I would like to see a document that says that they both promised to pay you back this money.
Okay.
I wanted, before I get to the circumstances surrounding this money, I want to see that we have the right parties here. On what date did you transfer money to Mrs. Davis?
The date was May 1st, when she actually charged my credit card.
May 1st of last year?
The initial request was made April 27th.
Okay. Mr. Davis, I am going to show you something and ask you if you recognize having sent it to her. First, I'm going to just get to the parties. Mr. Davis is very fine. Then you have sued both parties correctly.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I'm waiting for you to show me any proof of what you swore to in your answer, which was what she gave me was a campaign contribution for my husband. All I want to do is see a scintilla of proof of that.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Kimberly Camello says former friends Gina and Stephen Davis owe for a loan while they were having trouble financially. The defendants claim the money was a contribution, not a loan.
Ms. Camilla, tell me first how you know the defendants and how this transfer of funds came about.
So our children go to school together. She called me totally out of character, sobbing. I was driving. She said that she's about to lose her business and she needed $13,000. And I said, I don't have $13,000. I don't have any cash. The cash that I have is for my business. I have personal. All I could do was offer her a credit card. She assured me that it would be paid in 3 days. I had no reason to doubt her. It was totally out of character for her to be in that position. And
how long had you known her at that point?
About 3 years.
Okay. Sorry.
I actually gave it to her April 30th, and I have text messages to show that also.
I'd like to see it.
Okay, I can give that to you. You can just kind of...
Okay. How much money did she take out of your credit card?
$7,900.
How much money did she pay you back?
Nothing.
Go.
Okay. Kim was absolutely my friend. I called her crying in hysterics because I needed help and I asked for help.
And?
And she stepped up to the plate and offered to help me.
And?
I accepted her help.
So why did you give me this nonsense about a campaign contribution for your husband?
That's
your answer.
That's absolutely part of what I had to do.
No, you wouldn't have been crying about that. No. Let me, just so that we're clear. Plaintiff and I met because our children attend the same school. We hit it off and became close friends. In April of 2015, I was gathering money for my husband's campaign and asked Kim if she would be interested in contributing. Kim wanted to contribute and gave me $7,500. Everything was fine. You say nothing about business, nothing about... So let's just understand. That's a lie. Your husband says it's a lie in this email. Your text messages to her say it's a lie. Nowhere campaign contribution. Nowhere.
It's part of everything.
No. I'm waiting for you to show me any proof of what you swore to in your answer, which was she never gave me money for a business. What she gave me was a campaign contribution for my husband. All I want to do is see a scintilla of proof of that. Show me.
I didn't bring any documents to hand over as evidence.
That's what you wrote in your answer.
Absolutely.
Well, I know absolutely that's what you wrote in your answer. But if it's absolutely what you wrote in your answer, then an intelligent woman, and you look like an intelligent woman, would have brought proof of that. Something, if you know that she's claiming a loan and has documentation up the wazoo to support that it was a loan, clearly acknowledged by not only you here, but by your husband here, and a promise to pay her back. That's pretty much what you say in here, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Nothing about a campaign contribution.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Anything more than after months, she came back and asked us and demanded that she get some money and told us that she had...
No, this was right afterwards, sir. The text messages between them were right after the money transferred, not months.
No, I'm talking about the text message that you asked me about.
From you, but not from your wife. Your wife was right afterwards. She said, within a couple of weeks, I need that money. You know, that wasn't our agreement, that she goes through a whole sob story. You want me to read what she wrote?
No, thank you.
Whole sob story. She was supposed to get money. It fell through, but everything's not dead in the water. I'm going to get you your money. Please bear with us. That's what she wrote right afterwards. Not months afterwards. This was in August, so this was 3 months later, but your wife acknowledged it right away. I'm just wondering why we would make up such a ridiculous story and have no proof for it. Anyway, The limit of my jurisdiction is $5,000. Unfortunately, that's all that I can award you. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. That's all. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
A minister is forced to battle his neighbor.
You did, in fact, speak to the police. I just want you to tell me what you told them.
Your Honor, I told them that I think he's a drug dealer.
Next Judge Judy.
Listen, there's no loan agreement.
It's created hardship in my family.
There's also no repayment agreement.
She lied, completely lied.
There is nothing that all parties involved signed.
We won't lend any money that we don't have.
If I was not in a position to help a friend, then I wouldn't. That was poor decision making on her end.
I wanted her to take my daughter just for a few hours so I could get some errands done.
Why couldn't you take her with you?
My child is a nightmare.
The babysitter's having a worse time dealing with this mom.
I had offered to have the county pay it.
She didn't make a deal with the county. She made a deal with you.
And she has nothing to show for it.
Did you pay her?
No, because I had gotten threatening phone call from her boyfriend telling me that he knows how to get rid of bodies.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. Babysitter Crystal Harris is suing her former clients, Sheena Grimstead and boyfriend Daniel Faber, for unpaid babysitting fees.
Order. All rise. Case number 31 on the calendar in the matter of Harris versus may be seated.
Ms. Harris, it is your claim that the defendants owe you for babysitting services for their children. The defendants deny that they owe you any money and have a counterclaim because they say you somehow defamed them. What is your last name?
Grimstead.
Ms. Grimstead, you have 2 children?
I actually have 4, but I have 2 that she watched.
How old are they?
3 and 5.
What kind of work do you do?
Currently, I am a party light rep where I sell, like...
What kind of work were you doing when Miss Harris babysat for your children?
I was working at ProSource. It's like, it's for insurance claims.
Was it a temp job?
It was through a temp agency, but it was a temp to hire job.
And how many hours a day did you work?
8.
For how long?
At that point in time, it was about a month.
And how much were you paid an hour?
11.
Were you paid on time?
Yes.
And Mr. Faber, you're the boyfriend.
Yes.
Are you the father of these 2 children?
No.
Are you the father of any of Miss Grimstead's children?
No.
Do you live together?
Yes.
What kind of work do you do?
I work at a car dealership.
How long have you worked there?
4 years.
Are you paid by the week or by the hour?
By the hour.
How much?
Recently, it's $12.25.
Are you paid weekly or bi-weekly?
Bi-weekly.
You get paid on time?
Yes.
And you're paid on time because you have certain bills that you have to pay, correct?
Yes. Yep.
Well, now that we've figured out that you 2 work, you work by the hour, you get paid every other week as well?
I get paid weekly.
Weekly. And none of your employers ever stiffed you. You get $11 an hour and you get $12.25 an hour. Now we're going to start with Miss Harris. Miss Harris, did you advertise to do babysitting?
I did, Your Honor.
Where did you advertise?
On Facebook.
And Miss Grimstead answered that ad?
Yes.
On what date?
It was roughly 2 weeks from, I had started watching her kids January 22nd.
Did she come to your house with the children before you were hired?
No.
She brought them on January 22nd for the first time?
Correct.
Did you discuss with her prior to that what your fees were?
Yes, I did.
Was that on the phone?
It
or
was
on
through
email?
text message and Facebook conversations.
Okay. Do you have copies of those?
I do.
I'd like to see them, please.
Is that it?
Yes.
Thank you. What I was looking for was the agreement. You don't have any of the preliminary emails.
The emails that had that documentation on when Sheena had blocked me on Facebook during our conversations of when she owed me the money, those, once it is blocked, once the person has blocked you, you cannot retrieve those further emails.
I got it. So on this date, which is 2 weeks and 3 days.
Correct.
That's $260.
Correct.
And then the defendant said, I paid $60, so I owe $200.
Correct.
You remember that?
Yes.
And then you said to her, I have bills that I have to pay.
Correct.
And she said to you, yeah, I'm talking to the county on Monday to pay the $200, Because I don't have it. You say to her that this was an agreement between the two of you, not with the county, and she says, yeah, I don't have it, so I'll call Benton County Monday morning to pay it since I have daycare assistance. Okay, well, clearly the two of you, after some point back and forth, got into a nasty screaming match.
Correct.
Now, there's an acknowledgement here from you that you owe her $200 for babysitting services, that you paid her $60, that you owed her $260. The only thing that I see here, Miss Grimstad, is that you say to her, I don't have it.
Yes.
So?
I get daycare assistance through the county to pay for my children to be in daycare while I go to work.
Nice.
When we first started talking, the beginning of March.
We're not talking about March. We're talking about January 22nd.
She did not take my children until February 8th. That was the first day that she took my daughter. 28th, sorry.
Let's say February 28th. You already acknowledged that you owe her the $200. So she took your daughter on the 28th. And? At
that point, she had taken her for a few days, or a few hours that day, and I had given her the $20 when I picked her up.
I thought you worked 8 hours a day. What do you mean she was watching her a couple of hours?
At that point in time, I was not working.
So you were just using her as a babysitter?
That day, I wanted her to take my daughter just for a few hours so I could get some errands done. She only had her for like 4 hours that day.
Why couldn't you take her with you?
My child is a nightmare to go anywhere.
Is that the 5-year-old or the 3-year-old?
The 3-year-old.
Go ahead.
It was towards like the middle of March, we'd come to an agreement that she was going to take them on a weekly basis. We had agreed to $100 per week. She had started taking them on a Wednesday. I want to say it was
whatever it is, you acknowledge you owe her $200. I'm waiting for a defense.
I don't believe I owe her that just because
you acknowledge that you owed her the $200. You had her for 2 weeks and 3 days, that's $260, and you say I paid $60, so I owe $200. Now I'm waiting for your defense.
Because I had offered to have the county pay it through daycare assistance.
She didn't make a deal with the county. She made a deal with you.
I understand that, but she refused to get paid.
Her contract was with you.
Yes.
Wasn't her responsibility to go to the county. I'm waiting for a defense. I don't know what is he doing here?
Dan was the one that had dropped them off on several occasions and had picked them up on several occasions.
So he has nothing to do with this. You could sit down. I got whatever I needed out of you. He's not a father. He's not in anything. He's not a stepfather. He was the chauffeur, back and forth a couple of times. He's not a party, unless he promised to pay you money. Did he?
He had admitted on a conversation through a phone call that we had admitted that he admitted that, yes, you did not have to do this for Sheena to watch her kids, but you did it out of the kindness of your heart to do it.
Oh, that's what he said?
Yep, and he had admitted that he knew that Sheena had me over.
Okay.
I have other documentation.
I'm sort of getting that impression myself, if that was true. Do you remember saying that to her?
Not entirely like that.
Not entirely, but close.
I know that she had bills that came up and...
Stand.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Sheena had bills that came up that she was not expecting, and that's where a lot of the extra money went, where she would have had the money to pay Crystal.
Well, that doesn't mean she doesn't owe it. That just means she prioritized her bills.
Well, the big thing, and I'm not saying that nothing's owed, there was a lot of threats, and...
No, the threats didn't come until after she didn't get paid.
Yeah.
Waiting for a defense.
I just don't believe that I owe it to her after what she did to me on Facebook.
Did she say anything about you on Facebook before you said, I'm not paying you?
No, she had threatened to put me on blast.
Yeah,
if
she
I didn't
says it
pay
right
her.
here. She says it right here. I'm going to tell everybody that you are a fraud, that you're a cheat, that you don't pay your bills, that you take advantage of people, that you conned me. I mean, I could think of a whole bunch of things that she could write that would all be true.
I had offered to pay her.
No, you didn't. You had offered to have the county.
On the phone.
Did you pay her?
No, because I had gotten threatening phone call from her boyfriend or whoever he is telling me that he knows how to get rid of bodies.
Well, that's a very bad thing. You should report him to the police.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I have a voicemail from her stating that she shouldn't be watching kids as well.
She did watch your kids.
And that she didn't want to get paid by the county because she'd lose her benefits.
Does that mean you don't owe her the money? I'm just asking you. Does that mean you don't owe her the money?
And later today...
Show me another withdrawal for $1,500. There's one withdrawal there for $1,500.
Ma'am, I'm just here because he owes me that money.
I don't believe anything
I have
you tell
receipts,
me.
though, of everything.
I don't believe anything you tell me.
Cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Crystal Harris says former client Sheena Grimstead and boyfriend Daniel Faber owe for babysitting fees. The defendants are countersuing for defamation of character and harassment.
Okay, so you owe her $200. Now, you say money owed for defamation of character and harassment. I would like to see specifically what you are alleging is defamatory language.
She was saying...
Show me. I want you to show me what you are alleging is defamatory language.
Threats to take my children away.
That's not defamatory language.
Basically telling me
Not
that
basically, I don't want to... Listen to me. I don't want you to tell me basically. I want you to tell me what she wrote. Show me what she wrote. She can't take your children away. She can report you to the state if she thinks that you're a bad mother. She could do that.
She didn't report me to CPS until after all of this went down, because
So what?
When she was watching my daughter had come to her with allegations of sexually abusing her. She did nothing about it until after this.
So?
She did it out of spite.
Could be. Ms. Harris, did you report alleged sex abuse by one of the children? The answer is either yes or no.
Yes.
Was there an investigation? But you made a written report?
I made a verbal report.
Okay. And was there an investigation?
There is an investigation.
There is ongoing?
Not against me, against my ex-boyfriend.
Of which child, the 3-year-old or the 5-year-old?
5-year-old, I'm sorry.
How long have you been a boyfriend?
4 years.
This is Benton County?
Sheena resides in Benton County. I reside in Sherburne County.
That's okay. Just want to know which county is conducting the investigation.
I also have a voicemail from her stating that she shouldn't be watching kids as well.
So what? She did watch your kids.
And that she didn't want to get paid by the county because she'd lose her benefits from the county.
So what? Does that mean you don't owe her the money? I'm just asking you. Does that mean you don't owe her the money?
No.
Good. Okay. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $200. Your counterclaim's dismissed. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I am satisfied with the result.
She has nothing better to do with her life.
There was no rumors or allegations being spread.
There's been multiple people coming at me with threats and stuff because of her.
The county was never paying me.
I called Sherburne County and had them do a fraud investigation on her.
I've never had an issue with her daughter. Not one single bit.
She told me the very last day that she wanted nothing to do with my daughter because my daughter was telling her what to do, and she was horrible.
It'll be a signed contract from here on out.
Never again. My child is
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Robledo versus Sanchez. Step forward.
21-year-old Diana Robledo is suing her ex-fiancé, Angel Sanchez, for a loan to pay for his DUI and for an assault.
Miss Robledo, how long were you and Mr. Sanchez engaged?
For about, 2 months. Didn't last very long.
How long did you date before you became engaged?
Oh, since 2014 of May.
When he proposed, were you living together?
No.
Did he give you a ring?
No.
He just said, let's get married?
Yes.
Romantic. It's your claim. When did you break up?
Broke up as soon as I found out that Angel
No,
was
just
cheating
don't tell me that. That requires a date.
December 7th.
And when do you allege you made this first loan to him?
This was October 10th.
And what was it for?
It was for his DUI. He kept insisting and asking me for money because he needed help to pay, his lawyer, because he wanted to fight the DUI. He said he was innocent. He was very stressed. He kept asking me for money. I didn't have any, so I tried getting one through Wells Fargo through my bank account. They denied me for insufficient credit history, so he kept insisting, well, try other ones, try other loans, try this, try that. So fortunately, or more like unfortunately, I was actually approved for a $3,000 loan, and he actually had me cash it out the very next day and deposit it into his account. Opportune Services.
And what did you do with the money?
I got the check. I cashed it into my account through Wells Fargo. I cashed it out and gave it to Angel.
You gave it to him for what?
For his DUI lawyer.
What was the lawyer's name?
I'm not aware of that. I think it was Ryan.
You have to be aware of it because you would have asked. If you tried and tried and tried to get a loan, that means you were very much involved with his DUI. If you tried to try. So you know the name of the lawyer. Did you ever see the lawyer?
No, I didn't.
Had he ever used the lawyer before?
Yes.
For what?
Well, not that lawyer, but, I don't know. He had gone to see that lawyer, but previously he had to meet with him only for the DUI situation. That's all I know.
And the $3,000, you say you put it in your bank and you took it out and gave it to him in cash?
Yes.
Show me. Show me.
Oh, I don't have my bank statement for that. But I have, like, the opportune services if you'd like to see it.
No, I want to see actually exactly what I asked you for, which is where you put the money in your bank and cashed it out on one day and gave him $3,000 in cash. I want to see that.
I don't have that with me.
Oh, well, then go get it. And come back when you get it. Thank you.
Parties are excused.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You list a deposit for $1,500. 5 minutes ago that you deposited $3,000 and you gave him $3,000 in an envelope in cash. You mean the bank made a mistake? Which bank is that? I'm going to take all my money out.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. In a case recall from earlier today, Diana Robledo says ex-fiancé Angel Sanchez owes for a DUI and an assault.
This is a recall of case number 27 in the matter of Robledo versus Sanchez. Parties are reminded you're still under oath. You're welcome.
So, Ms. Robledo, let me just refresh myself. You got a loan.
Correct.
You put it in the bank. Then you withdrew the $3,000, you put it in an envelope, and you gave it to the defendant.
Exactly.
On what date?
It was 10/21.
I thought you told me it was October 10th.
I know, I got the dates confused.
Well, you did tell me...
I wasn't exact on it, that's why.
You did tell me it was October 10th, not the 21st.
Yeah, I wasn't sure on it. But now I'm looking at my statement, and I see it. It's 10/21st when I withdrew it.
So it was October 21st?
Correct.
Now I'd like to take a look at your statement.
$1,500.
It says that you deposited $4,000.
Correct. I had $1,000 loaned by my sister.
You had what?
$1,000 loaned by my sister. I deposited with the check.
Well, first thing that you told me is that you borrowed $3,000.
Yes.
And you put in $3,000.
That's what I got approved for.
So this is not correct. So you deposited $4,000.
Yes, it was a $3,000 check with...
Just a second. And then you withdrew... You deposited on October 13th, and then you took out cash of $1,500.
Twice, correct.
What happened to the $3,000?
It's $1,500 each. I withdraw twice.
Bird, excuse me. Am I not reading this correctly? Because, you know, it's sometimes I'm getting old. Okay. This is a deposit, right? Under this thing.
Right.
That's deposit $4,000.
Right.
Then she also deposited $608.27.
Okay.
On the same date, right? And these are all withdrawals and subtractions. Am I correct?
Right.
Then there is, on October 21st, there is a deposit for $1,500. Is that correct?
That's what it's under.
$1,500.
Twice.
Right? I don't see two withdrawals for $1,500.
It's on the statement, ma'am.
What?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, show me another withdrawal for $1,500. There's one withdrawal there for $1,500. You put in $1,500, you took out $1,500 on the same date.
Twice. Ma'am, I'm just here because he owes me that money.
Goodbye. You're here. You're not here. I'm dismissing your case without prejudice.
Judge
you can
Judy,
go back.
he assaulted
you
me.
can
He
go.
assaulted
you
me.
can go back.
I have proof of that. I made a police report and everything.
Listen to me. I don't believe anything
I have
you tell
receipts,
me.
though, of everything. I have
don't
videos.
believe anything you tell me. But just in case you think I'm being unfair to you, because I don't believe anything you tell me, because you list a deposit for $1,500, a withdrawal for $1,500, and you told me 5 minutes ago that you deposited $3,000 and you gave him $3,000 in an envelope in cash.
That's exactly what happened. It was a check of $3,000. I had $1,000, but it's showing up as $4,000.
Money out. Wells Fargo. Your case is dismissed. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
You're happy that she's gone?
I am so happy.
A tenant's space overrun by decay.
Her place was mold infested. She told me I was the one that brought the mold inside the house.
Judge Judy
I'm just here because he needs to pay me what he owes me. He has a job. He's irresponsible. I'm done with it.
That's girls. They're crazy.
I guess I learned my lesson. That's all I can do now.
Like she said, she just learned her lesson right now.
It was iPhone 6 rose gold, and it was a 65-inch TV.
It was all gifts.
The fact that he's constantly still trying to get back together.
I feel bad for what she's going through, but it sucks.
Every time I have to meet up with him for any minimum payment, we're just constantly fighting.
I'm telling you, they're crazy.
Never again.
Cuckoo.
I'm done.
You just gotta